Welcome to Emancipated Studio. Welcome my uncle, Uncle Stu, the old man on the block.
Salute, 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 salute. I just want to thank everybody that came in here tonight. Let me wish each and every single one of you a blessed and happy Memorial's Day. I hope that your day is going well. I hope everything is going well for you this weekend. I want to first give a thanks to all of you because you definitely could have been anywhere on these YouTube streets, but you came here to the Emancipated Studio to hear hopefully an encouraging word, a understanding and an education or even a confirmation as to what may be going on in your own individual life. I also want to give my prayers and my condolences and my heartfelt emotions to Master P, who had lost his daughter, according to the Instagram that he put out, due to mental health and possible drug overdose. And because I don't have total confirmation, I don't want to put that out as an exact science or as an exact thing. So all things is alleged and not to be reported as facts until I'm able to get the actual facts on the ground. Tonight, I want to talk about the subject, why so many Black women hate Black men. And I want to start it off because I don't want people to think I was trying to do what's known as clickbait by adding certain content creators to the thumbnail. Absolutely not. While I may have been personally off on my own platform, I had the opportunity to be on other men's platforms and to be able to hear the conversations that they have been having on these YouTube streets. One of the conversations that's going to lead into this subject tonight was a conversation that Angry Man had. And I was looking for the video so that I can put it on the community tab. That way you can hear what he had to say in its entirety. But the conversation was a morning conversation where he talked about, if you want to be a content creator, what's the secret sauce that you would need for your success? And again, the word success is speculative, but let's just use the word growth. What is it that if you just wanted to set up something and just blow up? He talked about your production. He talked about if you're able to give interviews. He talked about the ability to be articulate, to be a well-educated in the sense of being well-read individual. But he said the secret sauce was this. He said the secret sauce is setting up a platform where all you do is condemn women. And as long as you're condemning women, your YouTube page will blow up. And I have a tendency to agree. But I'm going to add a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper into the secret sauce that Angry Man created. In my observation, in observing many things, especially in the sector of what they call Black YouTube, I recognize that there's other methodologies that you can use. One of the methodologies is all you have to be is anti-manosphere. Let me make it a little bit clearer. Is anti-Black manosphere. That means if you hate the Black manosphere and you set up a channel also hating the black manosphere, there's enough people out here that hate the black manosphere too, and you will blow up. All you got to do is just hate the people, a group of people hate, whether the hate is real or fake. You don't have to talk about their talking point, just hate the personality that is defining themselves in the space of black manosphere. For example, before KS passed away, many people blew up just being anti-Kevin Samuels. Long as you hated Kevin Samuels, you'll have content, you'll have subscribers, you'll have watch hours. But there's no solution at the end of any of those things. But as a content creator, you'll blow up. If you hate anything men have to say, all you got to do is just set up a camera and talk about men all day and what you hate about them, what you can't stand about them. And I guarantee you, you'll blow up. If you hate Christianity, all you got to do is set up a platform and just talk evil about Christianity all day, all night, and you'll blow up. But the question becomes, at the end of the day, what does that solve? What does that solve? So I ask anybody who is engaging, and I'm talking more from the subscribers, when you finally walk away already hating the things you hate, has it solved your problem for the day? If hating men all day, has it solved your relationship issues? If you hate the black manosphere all day, has it solved your relationship issues? I argue, if hating all day has not solved your issues, don't you think it's time for a change? Time for a redirection, a time to recalibrate? Let's go to another area of why black women hate black men. Let me use the word why some black women hate some black men. Let me talk to the black men. Edward Anderson talked about in an interview something called soft power. And I'm reading a book on soft power, which is a political word, but I'm going to argue a little bit more in depth on this power source or power struggle. Many women hate you black men because without any types of tools, you dismantled some of the dynamic myths and stories that has been given even in my lifetime. For every successful black man, there's a black woman, but there's so many of you black men who has made it successfully without a wife, without a girlfriend. You've done it on your own. Some of you black men have achieved academics and economics and have increased in social statuses that is beyond even what I would have come to know and believe. A lot of black women hate the fact you are successful without them. There's an element in the African American community, unfortunately, that hates successful black men because it means that they can't claim you. The claim is they can't claim that it was them that caused your success. When a woman cannot claim your success, some women, instead of praising you, they would try to do everything in their power to destroy you. And you might be saying to yourself, well, what did I do to warrant this abuse, to warrant this evil, to warrant these remarks, to warrant this hate? I come to tell you tonight, sometimes you ain't got to do anything for people to hate you, but just be. But just be. Sometimes you don't have to be a man that has ever hated anyone, but because you know how to smile, black women will hate you. Some, not all, but some. But now there's an even more fierce attack against African American men, and it's coming from many different places. And I want to just summarize the history of these places, and in my view, in my opinion, in my study, and in my experience, why you are now receiving the outright vitriol that you are receiving. And I'm especially speaking to my younger generation, but I need my older generation of men to hear this as well. There was a time 30 years ago where the idea of the advancement of the African American community was predicated upon black men and black women being together and fighting both the political and social norms in order to advance sociologically, in order to advance economically, and in order to advance politically. But now we find that it did not take place. And what's happening is you have people that look like black men, black women, who are set up in positions to keep you down. They purposely need to keep you down so that they have a reason to stay up. What do I mean? There are organizations that is set up and certain people in academia that has a job as long as the problem exists. You have people that as long as they can find what is known as white supremacy, they can be validated to hold certain positions in academia. As long as they can validate black men being held down, they can be validated to stay up. We hear about the wonderful works of the civil rights movement, but many of these civil rights leaders, in order to stay relevant, they have to find things and do things to cause us to believe that we have not advanced so that they can remain relevant in today's times. We find that some people in our community have what's called the romanticism of our history. They will project a romanticized view of what it was like in the past and have the appearance that the past was greater than the future. And that is only so that they can remain relevant. I don't like to talk about other content creators because I am one that says if I'm going to talk about a content creator in a negative light, that content creator deserves to be in front of me where we can have the open discussion. So what I'm going to say is that there is a gentleman by the name of Umar Johnson, and he has been on a rampage going after black men who will not subject themselves to black women. And I notice that the pattern is attacking black men, but he never, ever attacks black women. Never heard him go after Kamala Harris. Never heard him go after the new Supreme Court justice. Never heard him go after one of the greatest poets that came out of Winston-Salem State, Maya Angelou, who never dated a black man, never married a black man, but we call her one of the greatest black female poets of our time. None of these people attack black women for dating out, but they attack black men for dating out. Umar Johnson prides himself on Pan-Africanism. And I too grew up in that way. I had a different concept. I've traveled to Nigeria. I've traveled to South Africa. When I was a child, I marched against apartheid when Winnie Mandela was the one who was fighting against apartheid. So I'm very much astute, very much aware of what was going on in the various countries in Africa. And I understood the global mindset of what Pan-Africanism is. But I asked Umar Johnson, if there's so many of these great black women that you claim, why are you not married, sir? If there's so many of these great black women that you say, why haven't you showed us an example of what a Pan-African woman is, and why are you not married to any of these women? I don't want you to show me other couples that are Pan-African. I heard a great word from a young woman who went to a HBCU, graduated from a HBCU, still 10 toes down for a HBCU. She said so plainly in her Instagram, she says, don't show people your plans. Show them your results. So I ask you, Mr. Johnson, where's the results that you want to show? Where is the results of you as a black man, you as a leader, you who boasted about going to all of these predominantly white schools and rejected these white women? Where is your black Pan-African wife? But I understand that I probably will not get a reply. I just want you to understand. I too have a very articulate intellectual vocabulary with the psychological ability to manipulate your mortal mind. But it is totally irrelevant that if we cannot show people who we are, if we cannot teach people how to go from point A to point B to point C, if we ain't got results, we're just a bunch of tinkling cymbals out here just making noise. We're just making noise. So I hope that we can have this conversation because I think it is relevant. And I don't want to have it with anyone. I want to have it with you, sir. With you. So this is my invitation to you. Now, I also want Black men to understand that even in the world of academia, there are college professors who must stay relevant. And in order to stay relevant, they have to continue to perpetuate narratives and stories so that they can hold their chairs in, it's so ironic, predominantly white colleges. They have to stay relevant, so they have to continue to teach a narrative that is not your reality. So each time that you as a Black man is rose up and gather your independence, independent thought, independent mind, independent way of life, these people have to condemn you because you're threatening their economic life. You are a threat to the very reason they exist. So let me give you a real life example of what I'm talking about. In the late 80s, early 90s, there were Black men who was teaching what we now recognize as a conservative thought or conservative philosophy. I say with boldness, conservatism has always been in the Black community. It is not something new. I would argue that liberalism is newer to the Black community than conservatism, but that will be for another topic at another time. But when these Black men and few Black women back in the late 80s, early 90s began to speak conservatism, meaning began to speak about economics, they began to say that Black people could build their own businesses, can build their own institutions, they can be able to build their own lives, that they did not need to depend on programs and the social service system. A lot of people in the civil rights movement began to take the mic and call these people Uncle Toms, sellouts, coons, words that Black people would emotionally gravitate to. And these so-called Black conservatives, and I shouldn't say so-called, I take that word back, these Black conservatives was verbally abused, socially abused, and they literally had to go to other places in order to teach their thoughts and their views. And this is what I'm seeing now, that young Black men are rising up. They're speaking some of the languages of the old conservative Black wing. And now you are called every name in the book in order to shame you into a life that you don't choose to have. So I asked a question tonight. Should Black people choose character over color? Let me say that one more time. Should we choose the character of a woman over the color of a woman? So what do I mean by this? If I'm listening to a lot of Black males who are successful today, they are looking to fall in love with the character of a woman over the color of a woman. I'm challenging any of my B1s. I'm challenging some women to explain to me character over color. Now, if we say that we rather have color over character because we're trying to preserve the so-called Black culture, then I ask this question: what is Black culture? Now, I know that another content creator said black culture is trash. I'm not going to use that terminology. I'm going to ask this. Is black culture dysfunction or is black culture function? What do I mean? Is black culture the ability to function holistically in a community where they can live in peace, where they don't have to worry about crime, where they don't have to worry about depending on outside social programs in order to raise their children? They can develop schools and systems that will allow them to be at peace? Or is it that we will choose dysfunction, which means that we are choosing to raise our children in such dysfunction that all we're reproducing is a dysfunctional society? I'm asking the question because if being B1 means marry a black woman even though she is dysfunctional in order to reproduce, am I not only reproducing dysfunction? Thank you, sir, for your $20 cash app. Just a couple of chicken bones for the collection plate, Uncle Stu. You're cooking with gas this evening. Thank you very much, sir. So I'm asking the question tonight. Are we going to be a people that wants to know how to operate and function in a society that we claim back in the 80s? We said, I grew up where we said we were kings and we were queens. That was the Pan-Africanism I grew up under. I came up under when young black men would say, we are the armor head. We spelled the law. It was the 5% Nation of Islam. We recognized that we were gods and that our women was the earth and that we together was going to produce a positive nation. We recognized back in the 80s those who went into what was known as the Zulu nation, and we recognized that we came from kings, we came from knowledge, we came from creativity. This was the black minds that we had. We said that we could go to our HBCUs, our historically black colleges that produced more managers, more business people, more technologically minds than any white institution. This is what we said. But now we have become so dysfunctional that now we have totally disbanded the earlier mission of the rise of the black community. We have now become so dysfunctional that our dysfunction has now been defined as normality. I need to have a conversation with some B1s up in here today, because what I have seen and what I am seeing is the outright disrespect for black men that I have never in the history since I have been on this earth seen before. I have watched and witnessed for the last 30 years black men being silenced at birth. Maybe some of y'all need to read The Invisible Man, because now I am seeing the invisible man taking place. Invisible voices, invisible minds, invisible hearts, and now I'm watching African-American men deleting themselves in numbers that I have never historically seen before. I am watching black men who has finally found a voice, who has finally been able to speak. And black women are now trying to rewrite history of great black male leaders. Some of you black women couldn't even sit on YouTube and TikTok and all these other places if it had not been for Dr. Martin Luther King. You may not like his philosophy, but damn it, give him the right of his legacy. So let's go there. For some of you who claim Christianism, do you not realize that the greatest men in the Bible fell because of a woman? Let's go there. So if you want to destroy Dr. King's legacy, then it also means destroying Jesus' legacy. It means destroying David's legacy. It means destroying Abraham's legacy. Legacy has never been defined by what is in between the legs of a woman. Legacy is defined by what a man or a woman leaves to his people and to the generation to come. How dare you think you're going to come on any platform and dismantle the legacy of a man because of the lie of the government, and then set up a platform where you got a bunch of young boys sitting up there and allowing you to destroy the legacy of that man? But you want my black men to love the dysfunction that is coming out of this space. This is not only the dysfunction that is coming out on these platforms. I see this damn dysfunction even on the street. I see young black girls who can't even smile. But then you're mad because that white woman is smiling, that Puerto Rican woman is smiling, that Asian woman is smiling. Then you're mad instead of getting it together. You want to know why black women hate you? Because I hate a horse that I can't control. I hate a man I can't control anymore. I hate the fact that he don't worship the ground that I walk on anymore. I come to tell you, my brothers, your worship is not to a woman. It is to the God that created you, raised you, built you, developed you, molded you, shaped you, and raised you up. It was never to worship the ground a woman walk on. The devil is a liar. I don't give a damn if you're a Christian, if you're a Muslim, if you're a Jew. You were never meant to worship another man. I don't care what's in between her legs. It is time that my brothers understand. You are going to be hated when you put your mind and your heart and your work towards the God that you serve, towards the work that you came here to do. You will be hated. You're going to be hated, so you might as well grip your loins like a man and be ready to be hated, because let me help some of you brothers. There isn't a damn thing you can do to make a woman that don't love you love you. There isn't nothing you can do that's going to make a people love you regardless of what you do. Let me give you an example. I have never put 304 in my content. I have never cussed out a black woman on my platform. I have never sat here and belittled black women at all. But I guarantee you, I'm probably still one of the most hated content creators right here on YouTube. I know I've been hated because of people and places I've been, all because of who I am. It doesn't matter what I've done for people off of YouTube. It doesn't matter that I'm raising children. It doesn't matter that I love a black woman. It doesn't matter that I raise black kids. The fact that I'm teaching black men to be better men than even Uncle Stu right now, I am now going to be number one enemy on these YouTube streets. So you might as well get ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. Because, see, I'm not going to rewrite history. They hated Malcolm X. Now, today, they all want to celebrate his birthday. They hated Dr. King back in the day. Now, all of a sudden, they want days off. Folk didn't even know what Juneteenth was. Now, all of a sudden, they can't wait to have a cookout. Don't play with me. I have said on Bernard Riley's show, I asked any black woman to come on the panel. My question to black women today, I respect the fact you said you did not like the way Kevin Samuels spoke to you. So I'm challenging you. Come talk to Uncle Stu. Come tell me, what is it you desire? Tell me, what is it you desire? I'm going to do what no other black male content creator on these YouTube streets is willing to do. I'm going to ask you to come up. Tell me what you desire. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't care about your body size, because that's cap. I don't care about your age. That's going to be cap. I'm not even going to dangle being six figures. I just want to know, what is it you desire? Tell me. A lot of black women say, well, Uncle Stu, we want men to hold other men accountable. And this is what we want. We want men to hold men accountable. No problem. You want me to hold my brothers accountable? And then I'm going to give you a reason why I'm giving these instructions to my brothers to hold them accountable. Brothers, I want you to go to work and don't say a damn thing to any of these women. Why am I holding you accountable for this? Because it is now, and I have never had to walk this, gentlemen, but what I see now is that you can't even go to work in peace. Because if you sneeze the wrong way, after you done built yourself up, raised up in a corporate environment, you got to be worried about some woman that all she got to do is say, I'm scared. Isn't that what this Amber Hearst is all about? Do you women really want me to tell these men what to do? No problem. Brothers, get your mind in order. Get your finances in order. And this is what I mean by your program. If she does not want to get time to understand you as an individual, walk away. Learn to say no. No is real liberating. No, I'm not taking you to dinner. No, I'm not even going to have sex with you. No, I'm not going to do what you want me to do. No, I'm not going to worship you. No, I'm not going to your church to prove I'm a man of God. No. And keep walking. Keep walking. Because money talks, BS walks. No, I don't necessarily want to vote Democrat. I'm going to vote Republican. And if that means I'm a sellout, I'm selling out to dysfunction. There we go. Sell out to dysfunction. Sell out to hate. Sell out to people that don't want to love you unconditionally. They want you to love them unconditionally, but they don't want you to be loved unconditionally. I am here to tell you, brothers, I love you unconditionally. I understand. Some of you may not have had a father. I get it. Some of you may have been raised by women who didn't teach you a lot of things. Some of you may have come from poverty. Some of you may have come from the middle class. Some of you may have an extreme abundance of wealth. Some of you may have come from Haiti. Some of you may have come from Jamaica. Some of you may have come from Kenya. Some of you may have come from Barbados. And some of you may come from Canada. I don't give a damn where you come from, as long as you're coming for the right reasons, and that is to be loved unconditionally right here. Right here. And I'm here to say enough is enough. And I'm here to tell black men today, if the good black women don't want to love you, stop wasting your time trying to explain who you are. Now, let's make it make sense. Let me explain something to you black men. I'm 54, and I am blessed, highly favored, as the church would say, that I have a good black woman. And I need you to understand, I have a good black woman. But all my real close friends, those that really know me, those that really know, they can pick up the phone and call me from Gail Lockett, Intentional Millionaire, RM, Perry Unlikely, Suzette Speaks. They all got access to Brown Eyes without me. They ain't got to go through me. They can go directly to Brown Eyes. And they all would tell you, I would always say, Brown Eyes, when they created her, they broke the mold. And I'm going to give her praise and her credit. Every word I speak, you better believe she's right there in the next room hearing everything I say. But I'm also here to say, my brothers, there's very few of her out here. And I get it. I get it. There's very few women that understands that submission doesn't mean slavery. Submission means to sub under the mission. When we have a mission, she helps substitute the mission. What is the benefits? She gets a whole lot of benefits. And it ain't in the bedroom, gentlemen. Ladies, she ain't slaved. She ain't walking around here with balls and chains. She's walking around here in her total femininity. Absolutely, Washington. Absolutely. It means submission equals respect. But let me tell some of you women why you can't get respect. Because respect is an acronym that I created, and it's called the re-education of self for the positive equality to control your own thoughts. I heard a woman on another platform, and like I said, I won't say this woman's name, nor will I identify the platform, because out of respect for the content creator and out of respect for the young woman, I would rather have them here to have the open conversation. But one of the things that I heard this woman say was that black men want basically a trophy wife. They just want a woman to look good under their arms. I got some men in the chat. I don't know about y'all, but the men I talk to ain't running around trying to find a trophy wife. So what men are you talking to? The men I talk to and the men I am around, and let me help some of you. The men I'm around, they make six figures real easy. They make above six figures. None of them is sitting around here talking about, yo, man, look at my trophy wife. Yo, man, I control my woman because of the money I make. Yo, man, I want you to look at my this and look at my that. Let me help some of you women. Let me help some of y'all. It is a very known, you could go to any platform when I talk about this is when the late Kevin Samuels was alive. I tell any woman, I always like meat on my bones. I like my woman nice, thick. I'm from New York. I need something to hold on to. I ain't never been one of them, get me one of them skinny minis. I ain't never been that. So I know for a fact you have not been talking to any real men. Not in the collective. Not in the collective have you been talking to any men. But I need men to stand their ground and call cat a cat. Call it on the spot. I know brothers that love BBWs. Will take, I see it on the street and going to the beach. Them brothers is chilling with their black BBWs. And I ain't talking about no Lizzo type. I'm talking about the thickums. I know brothers who like short hair, brothers who like long hair, brothers who like natural hair, brothers who want the brown hair. The question is, are you trying to date all men or are you trying to date your one man? Uh-oh. How about trying this, ladies? How about the man you interested in? Why don't you ask him what he likes? Try that conversation. Try asking the man that you want to be with, ask him what he likes. Because see, no matter what platform you go to, whether you come to hear Uncle Stu, or you go to Angry Man, or you go to Edward Anderson, or you go to Red Supreme, or you go to hear Mr. Roger Report, or you go to hear LAR Movement, or even if you listen to O'Shea Duke Jackson. Although we are all men, we got our own way of talking, we got our own way of communicating, and we got our own way of preferences when it comes to women. So instead of trying to investigate and listen to one man and think that all men follow that one man's ideology, why don't you try listening to the very man you claim you want? You don't want us as men putting all women together. So try not to put all men together. Now, if you're determined to hate black men, then I'm going to say what Edward Anderson says. Then leave us alone. Go deal with whatever man you want. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. Because here's the reality. Ever since the 90s, black women have been leaving to go to white men. Black women been doing it. I'm in the very state. Love it versus Virginia. Go look that up. Black woman, white man, went all the way to the Supreme Court. So it's been happening. It's ironic that it's been happening, but who's been lynched on a tree? We're going to leave that for another topic, another time. We are in 2022. I would love, in my generation, at my age, for black men and black women to come together and form that beautiful black community. But then I got to scratch my head where I ain't got no hair, because I was once told back in my younger days, and I hope I got some people over 40 and 50 in the chat that may can help me out by putting the number 1 in the chat for me. Didn't they say that if you produce a child of this one drop of black blood, that makes that child black? So did that change? Can I get some help in the chat? Do we remember that growing up, that if a child had 1% of black blood, that made that child black? Now it seems that doesn't matter. But I guess that's a conversation for another time, another day. Another thing that I'm confused about. So I need some help. I really need some help. Uncle Stu is really needing some help. Let's go back to Pan-Africanism. Can my black brothers, born and raised in the United States of America, are they allowed to marry a Nigerian? Are they allowed to marry a Ugandan? Are they allowed to marry somebody from Grenada? Are they allowed to go to Jamaica? Are they allowed to go to Barbados? Are they allowed to go to Britain? Are they allowed to go to Canada? I'm asking the question. Are they allowed? Kareem says, yes, they are. But the question is, are they allowed to go without being criticized, ridiculed, demeaned, over-policed? Or are they only subjected to black women in America? We need to have that conversation. I just want to know. I just want a better understanding. Help me, help you. Help me, help you. If I'm missing something, help me, help you. I know that the things I said tonight were straightforward. I know that it's going to shake some people up. I know that they're going to say I'm old and don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I know they're going to try to rip me and try to do everything they can against me. But you know what? My daddy survived Vietnam. I survived Persian Gulf. I think I can survive the criticisms of YouTube, because all I want from my black men is to be loved. I want them to be heard. I know, ladies, that some of my men, they cuss a lot. I know some of my men, they're frustrated. Some of my men is very angry. Some of my men is confused. Yes. Some of my men is looking for someone that can understand them and explain their side of the story. Some of my men don't even feel like talking to y'all no more because they think that y'all already know all the answers there is to know and that you just trolling. I get it. I get the sentiments of many men. Shout out to Red Supreme, who allowed me on this platform. Shout out to the Rogers Report that allowed me on this platform. Shout out to Edward Anderson, who allowed me on this platform. Shout out to BGS, who I was on the platform with Edward Anderson and BGS. First time I've ever been on a platform with BGS, always heard his name and heard of his content. Shout out to the anti-socialist, better known as Lady A, all the way from Europe, Great Britain. Shout out to you. I need you to understand that a lot of things I said tonight probably does need to get broken down. It probably does need some good historical content. And I will try to put that together for y'all. I want you to understand that history must be kept exactly where it is. What do I mean? I agree with something Angry Man said. Angry Man argued that how things were in the 60s, we have to keep it to the 60s, everybody. How things were in the 70s, we have to keep it in the 70s. How things were in the 80s, we have to keep it to the 80s. How things were in the 90s, it's the 90s. I hate to tell some of you, we can't go backwards. All we can do is learn where we're at right now and move forward. Obsidian asked this question. And there was two major questions that Obsidian asked. One of the things that Obsidian asked was, why is it Kevin Samuels? Now, he used Kevin Samuels as the example, but I'm going to take it further. He says, why is it that Kevin Samuels couldn't make the money he made in his latter years, whether you want to believe it or not, but why he couldn't make that money strictly off of black male content? Strictly off of black male content. And then he furthered the question, what is it about black men that we're not supporting other black men? I want to challenge that. And I'm going to challenge it this way. I want to talk to black men. If what Uncle Stu had to say tonight, give me your likes. That's free. If what you heard tonight, you know that I can give you a better breakdown of many different things I'm saying, give me a subscribe. Give me a subscribe. I need you to understand that Uncle Stu is here for you. But I'm going to also help the women out. Yeah, I want my sisters to hear this too. I need black men right now to prove Obsidian wrong. My challenge is that black men will support black men not only with their likes, not only with their subscription, but they'll easily give up $2 and $5. They'll easily give you what they want if you give them the value they are seeking. Something that Angry Man said, and I tend to agree. Sometimes to be a leader in the time, sometimes we got to do something so radical in today's time that later on it will be called the norm. I got something for the ladies. Uncle Stu believes that a lot of women, blind guy, his wife, their life. Thank you for the $20 super chat. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Salute to Sir Hell Speaks. Salute, salute. Here's what I'm challenging women. I'm willing to do what I know a lot of my black male manosphere content creators are not willing to do, or they sick and tired and they won't do. Let me put it on both sides of the water. I am of the belief that some of you black women need to be red-pilled too. Now that's going to mess a lot of people up. So let me explain. I believe there's a sector of women that need to be red-pilled too. Now, why do I say this? I use brown eyes as my example. I said to you earlier that I know there isn't another brown eyes out here. But what a lot of you don't understand is that I walk brown eyes through a lot of the things that she hears today. There were things she didn't even know. Remind you, this is a woman, when I met her, was a single mother. This was a woman that raised men. This was a woman that had father, that had uncles. But half of this communication she never heard until not only did I speak to her, but I actually took her out into the environment and showed her the things that black men go through. That opened up her eyes, that allowed her to see things she never saw before, that allowed her into a vocabulary she never even heard before. And I know for a lot of men, just saying, "Oh, Stu, black women, red pill, are you crazy? No, Stu, we gonna kick you out the manosphere." No, my content is still for men. But I'm only looking for those women that says, "Uncle Stu, I really want to understand. Uncle Stu, I was raised up this way. I came up under these concepts. And now, as a black man, you're telling me that what I was raised under was a lie. I was raised in the church to believe that we should be worshiped. That is biblically a lie. A lot of churches lie to you women so that they can get your money. And they continue to perpetuate the lie, even though the results is not there. There is nothing in the Bible where you pray to God for a husband and God granted a husband. I challenge any one of you Bible scholars, show me the scripture where a woman prayed for a husband and got a husband. But they constantly teaching you that foolishness. I don't want the ad hominem prayers. I want the direct prayer where a particular woman prayed for a husband. Help me help you. I am planning on, and I've spoken to several of my team members about this, but I am planning to do, salute to you, Ms. Washington, salute, salute. I am doing something called Red Pill Bible Talk, which is going to be everything coming out the Bible from a straight masculine perspective, something that is not done. I've even spoken to my bishop, who is very familiar with the manosphere, who is very familiar with Bible, who is all man, and can start to bring understanding from that perspective. Now, I know there are some women, you don't want to hear anything a man got to say, and I'm going to tell you straight up, I'm not arguing with you women. I am not going to waste my time arguing talking points. I'm not going to argue with you. Do not bring me quotations from other male content creators unless you have their whole context that I can view. That I'm not going to do. I'm also going to let people know I'm not here to beef with any YouTuber. So if you see a bunch of stuff and everybody want to argue with Uncle Stu, I'm too old to argue. My job is to educate to the best of my ability. Either you agree or you disagree. My comment section is always open. My emails is always open. But I'm going to give her credit where credit is due. Courtney Michelle made it very clear. Don't tell people your plans, show them your results. Don't show people your plan, show them your results. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been on YouTube for 7 months. Ladies and gentlemen, by the grace of God, I am monetized. I've been on YouTube for 7 months, and I have walked through the death of my son. I have walked through the death of a veteran. I have walked through the death of my father, and I'm still here. I have opened my life up. I have been demolished with my personal life by people on YouTube. I've been humiliated by people on YouTube. I've been disrespected by people on YouTube, but I'm still standing. I have not quit, will not quit. Even when I dealt with 2 major deaths in my life, I still got up every day to read, to research, and to produce the content. I have been married and I have been divorced. I have been a single father and I have raised children. I am come from wealth. I've been poor and I'm right back to wealth. But I've always said to you, who cares if I got 20 cars sitting in my house? Who cares if I got a mansion? Who cares if I got every Gucci bag and MK bag? Those are male bags, by the way. Who cares if your life is still messed up? If your life, I don't care if you're a man or woman right now listening to me, if your life is still messed up, what good is for me to brag about my life and tell you about all the material things and your life is messed up? Then I'm not bringing you value. I'm praising myself. Because one thing I learned about life, as they say, live life long enough. I watch rich people become poor and I watch poor people become rich. I watch people who was once living a middle-class lifestyle now going to get food stamps. I watch people who had great jobs and now they're on the unemployment line. I watch people who had beautiful homes, especially those of us that lived through the 90s, the housing bubble, was praising all in church. 7 years later, they was begging the church to give them money because they was about to lose their house. I've lived long enough to see a lot of that. That's why I am humbled. That's why I have the strength and the love for my brothers, because I know what it's like when people look down on you, belittle you, and treat you as less than. I am a veteran of the United States. I came to raise my right hand for people to have a voice. I salute the black men and women that has went on and become economically and socially successful. I salute the black families that has come together, because I see that around me too. Men and women who is coming together, creating family, creating community. They build it. It's not all disparity. I am fully aware of people coming out of New York and New Jersey and DC. Atlanta is about to turn into Charlotte, meaning all these Northerners is about to take over the South. But you know what? All of that means nothing if you come here and I don't give you the value and the love you deserve. I didn't come here to beat up on you. I came here to lift you up. Sometimes Brown Eyes get on me because she says, you be yelling at people, but I need y'all to understand that I love you. That's why I get up and I do what I do, because I love you. I never want to see you fail. I always want to see you successful. But I understand the mission I signed up for. I understand that there are people who's not going to like Uncle Stu. They don't like me because I'm over 50. To them, I should be in a graveyard somewhere. Some of these people forget they're going to make it to 50, hopefully. I know that that some people ain't gonna like me because I got that preaching voice, and they just disdain, hate Christians. All y'all hypocrites. It's funny that the people that call Christians hypocrites, you can definitely find hypocritical things. But as I spoke to one of my moderators, all I can do is hold me accountable to the best of my ability. I need you to understand that I love B1. I was born and raised in B1. But I also recognize what's on the ground. I recognize what's on the ground, meaning I recognize that there's a change. I recognize that when you go from one socioeconomic status to another socioeconomic status, you might not find a lot of people that look like you. It is what it is. Uncle Stu went to private school. Brown Eyes will tell you, Uncle Stu got 2 left feet. Now you get me to play certain other kinds of music. She discovered that culturally I can do a whole lot of things. Uncle Stu went to private school. Uncle Stu was surrounded by white people. Uncle Stu also went to an all-black school. Let me tell you, the dynamics is two totally different. Two totally different. But I love my people. And I love you. I told y'all, I've had to write comments to people because I found out that people have wrote comments to me. And it was like a week later that I responded, and I had to apologize to them for not commenting fast enough. This is how important you are to me. Brown Eyes will tell you, I get up every morning and I come right here to this studio and I'm sitting up here looking at emails and I'm responding to comments. I'm looking at emails and I'm responding to comments. And I will have a whole conversation with you. Those of y'all that have wrote comments and hear back. I am due to be on certain content creators platforms. You know, I want to give a big shout out to Mr. Palmer. I'm due to be on his platform. Give a big shout out to Suzette Speaks. I'm due to be on her platform. Mr. Roger Report, me and him is going to be doing some things together. I think I just seen him in the chat. Let me see. Did y'all see Journal in here? Could have sworn I seen him in the chat. I might have missed it, but I'm due to, bring some men on here that's going to have some topics, and we're going to do some interviews. So there's a lot of things that, I'm trying to put together. I'm trying to do a better job at giving videos and doing videos that's going to speak to the issues at hand. So I wasn't expecting to really speak this long. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open up the chat. I'm going to open up the chat. I want to hear back from you. I want to hear you're good. I want to hear you're bad. I want to hear from you. I don't want to just be a man that does all the talking. I need to hear from you. I will be doing more lives, but I want to make sure that the lives I do brings you value. I don't want to just be someone who gets up here and just go in for a rant. I don't want to be somebody that just talk to be talking. As somebody wrote in the comments, they said, Uncle Stu, your business need to be more hustle. We want to see your business a little bit better. And you know what? I give that comment a positive statement because this is a business to me. This is not a hobby. This is not for me to just sit up here and become this great content creator with a name. Name doesn't mean nothing if I can't help you in your life. Now, let me make it real clear. Don't mean I'm going to be throwing $100 if you try to hit me up talking about, oh, Stu, I ran out of gas. I need $100. You might be a little shy because I got employees to pay. That's right. I got employees to pay. And trust and believe, these folks that work for me, they don't want to hear nothing about, hey, we got to wait the next month for a paycheck. They're going to tell me wait the next month for their service. So when you're giving to this platform, you're not putting money in the material things that you see behind me. That come out of that's my pocket. The things that you are supporting here, whether you're part of the Patreon, whether you're part of the Cash App, whether you join in the community, that money all goes back into Uncle Stu's platform, his business, and mostly the employees that God has graced me to have because they help me to create a better YouTube environment, better production, better administration. There's a whole lot of stuff that goes behind being a YouTuber when you take this seriously as a business. Let me shut up and let me drop the link. This is all I ask you because I told you I do have enemies. So if you want to come up, you want to talk to me for a moment, you know, you got something you want to say, even if you got a criticism, an intellectual criticism, talk to me. I'm not going to cuss you out. I'm not going to call you out your name. I'm not going to call you out your character. None of that stuff. That's not going to happen over here. If you're a woman and you just want to bring something to my attention, let's talk about it. Don't run. Don't run. All I ask is if you come up, I just need you to uncam up in the back for me so that I know it's the real you. Because like I said, I got people that would love to get this quote platform taken down. And I just, want to take the time to say to everybody, I thank you. I am just now getting back, and it's been a blessing to see at least 60 people in this chat. I want to thank you for being here. I hope that if you see the replay, please leave me a comment. If you go to the about section on my page, you'll see my email. Email me, comment, talk to me. Brown Eyes will tell you now. I read them. Mosaic, TJ Washington, my sister, by 2 months. In the house. Thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Nurse Fancy says they better not. All right, Ms. Washington. Let me see. Are you all the way in? I see you in the sense of your screen, but I don't think you're all the way in the sense of the signal because it will not allow me to pull you all the way up. Ms. Washington, if you can hear me, try coming in and going back out again. It could be StreamYard. It could be a signal issue. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna remove you and then see if you can come back in again. Let's see what. All right, Uncle Stu, give up on black women. There's no hope. Let me say this. The only reason why I can't give up because my heart, my mind, and my soul won't allow me to give up. I'm still down and riding 100 for black men, but the only reason why I won't give up is because I gotta believe that there's a remnant of black women that do want good black men, and I need this remnant of women to go on and hook up with these black men. You never know. I might have to send you to Kareem, introduce you to them Jamaican women, cook you some good curry goat and all that good stuff. I'm seeing if Ms. Washington is coming back. Again, the StreamYard link is in there. If you want to talk to me, Brown Eyes is gonna be upset if I ain't got a bunch of people coming to talk to me. She always says, need to drop the link. Nobody comes and talks to you. So if y'all just want to come up and just say in a live, hi Brown Eyes, is Uncle Stu real or fake? Nurse Fancy, happy Memorial Day to you as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. F. Francis says, let me reframe. New modern women fail. I'm Jamaican. I ran. Salute to my number one niece in the house. I am Courtney Michelle. As y'all know, Courtney Michelle is the one I quoted today. When you hear me say, she said, don't tell people your plans. Show them your results. And that's what I'm asking Umar Johnson. Don't tell me your plans, bro. Show me the results. Show me your Pan-African wife. Before you tell my men about being Pan-African, show me their wives. So before you go running after LeBron and all these other black men, show me your black woman. Courtney, I don't know if you caught it earlier, but my only problem, I don't run around talking about content creators, but the only reason why I got upset at Umar Johnson is because you're going to call out for the last 3 days all these black men who got white women. But I ain't heard you call out one black woman who got white men. But let's make it make sense, Courtney. I didn't understand why you pushing all these black men to be with black women, but Umar Johnson ain't got a black woman. So where in the world is she at? I didn't want somebody to make it make sense to me. What's going on? What's going on? See, look, I would have figured today you be around or going to Washington State somewhere.
No. How you doing?
I am doing well. I am now back, as you can see. So I didn't even think. I have taken. Well, after my dad passed, I took a little time. I took a little time off of this platform, but I have been on other men's platforms. So, and then trying to get my dad's estate squared away and make sure he was squared away because my mom don't know a lot about the VA and all this other stuff. So it was like trying to get all that red tape through and then, being lazy for the weekend. And it's like, okay, I got to get back to work.
Hey, brown eyes.
Look, she gonna jump in the studio. I'm waiting for her to bust open the door, come in the studio and speak directly.
Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about. I just popped on. I'm like, what you talking about, Willis? So I just thought I'd call and see what you're talking about.
Well, I started off with really the understanding of why black women hate black men. And I feel there really needs to be a part 2. And my summation of that is some people hate you just because of just you. They don't really need a reason to hate you. The other argument that I gave is, there's a lot of systems that's been set up where when you start going against the system itself, people will begin to hate you because you're messing with their economics. So we have black people who are in certain positions in our community and in our society that need you to be broke. They need you to be dysfunction because it allows them a job. So if go for it.
No. Well, I want to ask, so why I missed part 1 because I've been kind of backing up a little bit too, bro. Like I tell you, can sometimes take a step back. Right. Because I had to, I was enjoying my family, my family and my baby's walking. She's walking.
Oh.
Yes. So, I've been enjoying my family and because I've been taking a step back a little bit too. So I didn't know, I don't know a lot's what's been going on. Like I was telling a kosher clinician earlier today, the month of May is just kind of a blur because so much has happened during the month of May. And so why do you think black women hate black men? I missed that part.
Well, I kind of broke it down to 3 different areas. One area, my summational argument is some black women is just destined to hate you, regardless. They just have a disdain for successful black men. And I use the quotation, and I know you're familiar with this, but every successful black man is a black woman.
Mm-hmm.
So to see a successful black man, and you don't have that black woman, kind of messes up that statement. Now, some women going to dig and say, well, he had a black mama, but we know that the truth of that is the black wife. So that was the first part. Some black men, they're just going to hate you because. Other reasons why is because, for me, I grew up in the B1, Pan African. I grew up in that era, and
Mhm.
I understand it from a global perspective and exactly what was happening. But within history, within the last 20, 25 years, that whole dynamic has shifted. So where the shift has come from is because there was a time, let's say, black men wasn't where they were supposed to be. Now they are, but now my sisters don't want to get right. So I asked the question, and I'm still asking the question: do we choose character over color? So are we asking black men who, let's say, has, forget the six-figure stuff, just decent black men, do they now marry because of color, or do we marry because of the character of the woman we see? It's hard for me to say to black men, go marry that black woman regardless of her character, just to keep the community going. Then I ask the layered question: if we're going to keep the community going, which community are we going to keep going? Are we going to keep the community that is productive, that is rising economically and socially and politically? Or are we going to keep the community that's operating in total dysfunction?
Well, I'm not sure I have the answer to that. But what I was thinking, interestingly enough, earlier today, as I was driving an hour ago, pick up my niece, and Michael Jackson's song came on, "Heal the World." Make this world a better place for you and me and entire human race. And sad, but I think it's very true. I don't see it getting any better.
Mm,
I don't see it getting any better because you have a society of people, that are just very selfish and self-absorbed. You have a society of people who don't care. And again, I'm speaking in general terms because of course we have the nuances, but when we look at holistically and culturally, and not just in the black community, I think just you know culturally in a sense of the America, the human race, we are a
mm,
very selfish people, and it's not even about. I'm not going to say color doesn't have an impact because it does, but I think what I'm finding more than anything is more class than anything. Either you have it, I mean, in a sense of the classes, social economic class,
mhm, mhm.
and people just don't care about people anymore. And it was a time because again, going back at, Pan African, absolutely. I remember, in college, you know, we were really a lot more united, black women, black men, because we were in it together. Even on college campuses, we were united together.
Right.
Um, but something has definitely happened over the past 20 years or so that not only are we not together, we don't even, it's all about what I can get, and I will step over you to get it. Women think that way, some men think that way. We are
Mhm.
no longer really up, there are those who say we want to be about the black community, but unless you are giving me something that I find valuable in a sense of really tangible, I really have no use for you. And it's interesting because I was talking to my niece this morning who just went to the prom, and she went to the prom with a young white guy.
Mhm.
And interestingly enough, she just turned 18. And she was
Okay.
talking about when she went to the prom, all the brothers, the young brothers were talking about, I can't believe you went to the prom with this white boy. But none of the, even though those boys, she said, well, none of y'all asked me to go.
Mm.
Same thing with my daughter 10 years ago
Mhm.
when she dated Matthew, her first boyfriend. All the guys, the black guys were giving her all this grief. She said, but y'all wasn't checking for me. Y'all wasn't checking for
Mhm.
me. So now you have a problem that I dated this white guy, but this is the guy who treated me nice. So when it goes back to character, yes, I would like to see our black community together. But I'm gonna say for the people that I love, you go with who treats you right. Whether I have a nephew that finds love in a different race, whether I find a daughter, I'm glad she came, found my son-in-law. But I'm gonna be like, go with who treats you right. Go, and I was telling my niece today, I said, if that young man who happens to be white has a character, treats you like this, treats you this way, in a very then that's what you do.
It's funny that you say that. I didn't get a chance to reach out to BGS for this live because I didn't think I was going to go back to this. But I hope one day I can get BGS on this program. It's funny you said what you said because, to my understanding, BGS is older than both of us, and we had this conversation on Edward Anderson's platform where we was talking to E Black, and we was both saying, "Hey, we grew up this way." BGS is out of California. I'm out of New York. And it's like, okay, we grew up this way, but on the ground, it's something totally different. And okay, for my age group, yo, man, I'm going to tell you, stick with the black woman, da, 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 da. I can't say that to a 30-something. I can't say that to the 20-something. I can't say that. I can't sit up there and say, well, back in my day, here you go. Sacrifice all that you got to save a community, in my opinion, that don't want to be saved. But I'm trying to get someone in their 30s and 20s to say, okay, give me the intellectual argument that proves.
You have some who don't think it needs to be saved because, again, I'm going to tell you what my mom said. We
Okay.
have a point of reference. They don't. We have, as Gen Xers, we had a point of reference to the boomers who were in, the civil rights movement. Even as a Gen Xer, on the campuses around the country, we were in the trenches when talking about social injustice, talking about inequity, talking about this, and we banded together. I mean, so we saw what a community of Black people looked like. So even if we didn't reach to where we wanted to be, we had a frame of reference that we had actually seen in our lifetime. These kids have, and I say kids, even though they're just, they haven't even seen it. And
Right.
it's kind of what my mother was talking about when talking about even being a lady, carrying yourself like a lady. These young women have never even seen it. They see pictures and magazines, but they've never seen it in real life. So they think, okay, that's a long time ago. Well, we know that it wasn't because we actually saw it in practice, in real time. So you have a generation of people, all that they've seen for the past 20 plus years is, I'm going to get mine. I don't give a damn how you get yours. Women, I need you to do for this for me. Whereas sexuality is not only something that is not, I mean, it is broadcast, it is flaunted. Whereas that when in our day, it was something, yes, you appreciated your sensuality and your sexuality, but it wasn't for everybody. Even though we knew there were some holes, in the game, but
Right.
it wasn't something that was flaunted. So you had people, women who may have had a reputation, but they still got married because everybody wasn't out there seeing it. There's no shame to anything. It is no shame to say I'm about the money. It's no shame to say I'm a pump and dump. It's no shame to say I'm a finesse you for some. There's no shame to anything anymore. It's no shame to say I'm a stripper. It's no shame to say I'm a prostitute, where those things were shameful. So if you have no shame or anything, you have no conscience, you don't care about the consequences of anything because you have no shame to anything.
Do we have, and I'm just asking this philosophically, um, do we, or is it too late to put because you used the word shame and you said there's no consequences. You hear the men, because we'll go back and forth. You hear the men say, well, women not holding women accountable. Then you hear the women say, well, the men not holding men accountable. But the question is, who does the punishing on either side. We'll make it neutral. We'll make it even in that regards. Because men will say they're being punished through child support, the criminal
I would
justice system,
agree.
but there's no punishment for women.
There isn't. I'm just
How
gonna
do
be honest. There isn't. And I don't listen. Let me look in the camera. I don't give a damn if you agree. The bottom line is I'm five, I'm double nickel. I've lived long enough to say what I know is true. There is no consequence because the moment we, and I say women, try to say something based on what we've learned about life and experiences, you get raked over the coals. I don't give a damn because I got mine. You heard? I got mine. But I'm trying to grow y'all to the realness because we don't want to be told nothing. We don't want, if you tell it to us nice, if you tell it to us stern, we don't want to be told shit from nobody. And I can say that because I used to be just like that. So I
Sister
don't I don't
George?
know. I don't
Yeah.
because it's I don't know. I don't and see again, I don't know if there's any consequences because it is, I said far as being a single mom, having my daughter out of wedlock, even though I married her father later. I said it's not something I'm ashamed of because she's my daughter, but I'm not proud of it either in a sense of I'm not proud that I went down that path. It happened. I made the best of it. I didn't keep repeating the pattern. So I'm not going to be ashamed of my daughter. I'm ashamed that I did not make better decisions, but it happened. I made the best of it. I didn't continue in the pattern. The shame would have been if I would have continued to do it, but there are those women who will continue to do it and then don't understand why nobody wants to deal with that.
Sister George, are you still in the chat? And the only reason why I'm asking is she's still in the chat because one day her and her co-host,
Mhm.
they went off about another person that person was in my chat one time and tried to, well, I'm gonna keep it going. But she was boasting about, hey, I gotta get off of here because I'm going. Okay, I see you, Genesis. She was boasting about, hey, I gotta get over here. I gotta go do for my husband. My husband got this. My husband got that. And I'm like, I need Sister George to speak to this conversation.
I love it, honey. I love it. Because Mr.
What
Randolph is my baby.
happens? Can you hear me?
Hello?
Hey,
Oh,
I can hear you.
I can't hear myself.
You can hear. We can hear you.
Oh. Okay, I can't hear myself, but since you guys can hear me, I'll just say what I have to say and then I'll bounce out, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, because I can't hear myself. Anyway, hi, everybody. Happy Memorial Day to all the Americans. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've been on here. Yeah, I'm looking a little busted because my allergies are really, really bothering me. So please forgive my appearance.
You got it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the monologue, and I'll just give you my personal take on it because I'm very much pro man all the way, and I think that we're at war with morality, number one, and the disrespect that we have for each other in the community is just tenthful right now. And I'm very big on personal responsibility. And I said it in the comment section of the last video. I strongly believe that nobody has any business being involved in any type of a relationship with anybody until they're willing to do the personal work for themselves, because we're all coming from something. And I know the buzzword now is trauma and triggering and all these other, buzzwords, but we're all dealing with something that we haven't dealt with. And I challenge everyone, go back and look through your album and find a picture of yourself, both men and women, of the moment where you were grieved, where you were deeply wounded. Take a picture of that person, have it on your phone, and every single morning that you wake up, you talk to that, whether if you were 7, 17, 25, 42, whatever. Go back and talk to that person as the person that you are now, and really have a conversation with that individual, and seek out ways for you to heal pain, trauma, whatever it is that you're dealing with. Because if not, then you will be lost. You will be lost. We're talking about healing the community. We have a long way to go. And for me personally, I'm not going to wave the bandwagon of the past, because that's not going to do anybody any good. We've been talking about the past for decades, and we haven't solved anything. We need to figure out where we want to go. And we can't take everybody with us. We can't do it. Some people don't want to go. Some people are going to be afraid to go. Some people will be afraid, but still pick up the mantle and say, okay, I'm going to try. And hopefully along the way, when we get there, my fear will be subsided. And then you're going to have the warriors like me. We're like, listen, I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. This is what we have to do. And this is where we're going to go. Are you coming or you're not? You're coming or you're not. Because we're all going to have strife in life. There's always going to be something that we have to deal with. And nobody's here to hold anybody's hand. And I'm not going to apologize for that. The hand holding has to stop. Because once you start holding the hand, you're letting go of something else. So get it together, because I've already made my decision. And I'm not in the circle where I'm just going to wallow in the mud and woe is me, because nobody's coming to save me. I'm not doing it. So I'm so upset that I can't hear anything. But yeah, I'm going to bounce off, because it's going to be really irritating if I can't respond back and forth. So thank you for having me on. It's been so long, but I'm on the road to recovery and I'm getting back my health. So peace and blessings to everyone. It's all love. And I'm not one of these girls where it's going to be like, I'm not talking about all, and it's not everybody. Listen, deal with whatever it is that you can deal with it. If you can't deal with it, then skip past my section of the video. Okay?
You got it.
Take care, everybody. Thank you again. Blessings to everyone.
Blessings.
Bye. I'm going to go back in the chat and listen to the rest of the show. Excellent.
What's going on, Mr. Washington? I see that.
That's Ms. Washington. That's Ms. Washington.
Ms. Washington. Oh, Lord. Ms. Washington. Look, I'll let you scream at me in the comment section, all right?
Get it right, bruh.
I know, right? Can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, I gotta salute that American flag. I had to defend that flag for a while. So what you got for the what you got on this?
Well, can you hear me, Uncle Stu?
Yes, I can.
I didn't want to cut the woman off. She was still speaking while you were speaking to me, and I didn't want to say anything while she was speaking. She was so eloquent. I was really into what she was saying. But she made some great points, as you all have, especially TJ, made some great points. A lot of us don't want to be corrected. I'm in your same age group, Uncle Stu and TJ. I'm 52 years young, and I am a veteran like you two all are. You both are. And I've seen a lot of things. And like TJ said in a minute, with myself, I'm a single person because I didn't listen back in my 20s. But then again, TJ, no one was telling me how to be. in my 20s. My mom wasn't telling me how to be. My father was not Uncle Stu telling me how to be and how to be in this world as a young woman, and what my priorities should be as far as mating. Um, uh, so politically, I've run the gamut back and forth uh, of what's wrong. But the main thing that's wrong, if anything, is with myself. See, I have to point the finger to myself of why I'm here, and I can't blame the black man or the white man or the white woman or America. You know, some people are downing America, um, but I have to look in the mirror every day, and that's the person that I lay the responsibility on. Not, the men who didn't choose me in high school and college. I didn't get chosen. There may be a reason for that. But at the same time, I think TJ spoke on class. I think that's very relevant because a lot of times when we hear these topics, for instance, why do black women hate black men? See, you really do have to separate some of us. About 15, 20 years ago in his commentary, Chris Rock once said that there were black people and then there was niggas. He said that.
Yeah, he
I'm
did.
not saying that. I'm not saying that. Chris Rock said that. He said there's black people and we don't want to accept that. In the 60s, we would say there were bourgeoisies. These certain class of people were bourgeoisies, and then there was the other people. White people don't mind separating themselves out. They know who they don't want to deal with. They have names for them. I don't like those names, but they call them white trash, trailer park, rednecks, hillbillies. But see, it's something that's funny, and when we talk about one another, we lump each other all in as if we're the same. And in your chat, I made a point to note that no, we're not. We're not the same. We're not the same people, Uncle Stu, TJ. We're not the same. We're afraid to say that there's a certain class of a black person, and there's a certain class of a black person or a black woman or a black man. And so when you have this type of dialogue and this discussion, you ask, rightfully, why do some black women hate black men? You're talking about a certain demographic. And white people aren't afraid to chop those demographics up, but we tend to lump it all in, and we can't lump it all in. We weren't all the same in Africa. We're not the same here. We're very tribal communities. Even in Africa, they had hierarchies. We're afraid to admit that we have hierarchies here. We're not talking about the same people. You went to private school, Uncle Stu. So did I. I went to a Catholic school.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
A lot of so-called black people didn't have that experience that you and I have had, that TJ has had. I didn't come from, some kind of crazy family, but my parents did get divorced early. But I say all these things to say this now that I finally was able to get on Uncle Stu, is that thank you for the conversation. But I think it's very important that we make sure that that we name who we're talking about. Because we don't want to name them, because we're in this situation where we think we're all in this together. And we're not. And we have this conversation as if we think we're all gonna go together. And we're not. This flag right here, I love this flag. There's a lot of people that you're talking about who would spit on this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who you say you love your black men, they would spit on this. So I already know that you're not talking about the same black men. We're not talking about the same black women. We're talking about a certain status of people who don't get it. And we need to name them. TJ said there's no more shame anymore. We need to bring shame back. The beloved Kevin Samuels talked about how there's no more shame. We need to bring shame back. There's no shame. A lot of the people in this so-called black community, Martin Luther King wouldn't have even had a cup of coffee with. He was a certain class of person. So I'll take my response off, and I would love to hear your comments or anyone's comments to any of the things that I've stated. Thank you, Uncle Stu.
Real
Well, I'm
quick, if
gonna,
I
And
may, real quick, if
yes,
I
happy
may,
Memorial Day to you, brother and sister, to the
Sammy here.
vets.
we honor those fallen. We definitely do. One of the things I would say, just really quick, you're absolutely right, Juana, that all of us are not lumped together. I think that one of the travesties, again, speaking from a Black woman's perspective, in as much as we're not lumped together, one of the things I will say, I grew up poor. You understand me? I grew up poor. But even in our poorness, our poverty, there were certain things that my mother and my grandfather and all the taught about how you represent yourself in the world. So you have a demographic of people that no matter how they're raised, they all come out looking fucking ratchet. And that's the travesty of it. So no, we're not all the same. But when you look, when you have it everywhere, that's how we look. Even those who are raised in more affluent backgrounds, just as much as those who are raised in, they're all doing the same behaviors. Because people would look at me and say, Terry, I didn't know y'all, that y'all didn't have lights or y'all didn't have food. Because when I walked outside, I didn't act like again, like Jamie Foxx's grandmother said, I took acting lessons early. You go out and you act like you have some damn sense. Do not have that anymore. So that's why they say when they lump us together, because that's what we're seeing. You don't have, even though it's a fictitious character, the Claire Huxtables, because we grew up seeing those. Even though that was a fictitious character, we grew up seeing women like that. But those women are not lauded anymore. The women that are lauded are the foolish behaviors, the strippers, the finessers, the hair with the blonde lace fronts, the lashes that look like butterflies, all that stuff. So when you think, yeah, Mr. or as Mr. Randolph say, the lashes that look like peacocks. So that's the yeah, like that. So it's hard for you and me and Brandon because we know better. But the people out who they don't. And that's the travesty of it. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm done. I don't want to monopolize.
Well, first of all, Ms. Washington, I want to, give you your honor, as a veteran, so salute to you. What branch of the service? Army? Her. I'm Army too.
Whore.
But first of all, I want to thank you because believe it or not, I've been on YouTube 7 months, right? And I think I've only did like what I would call, I guess you would call it the Uncle Stu rant. This is the first time I've had more females actually come up and speak. So I must be on the right level somewhere along the line. So I thank you. Grace and Andrew, I want you to give me 1 minute because there's an old philosophy, and the philosophy says, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Ladies and gentlemen, my one, my only, my mentor showed out, and he was chilling in the Hampton, y'all. So he wanted them bushy, black brothers. El Guapo is in the house. Salute and salutations, sir.
What's good, team? Salute and salutations to you, Uncle Stu and panel. Happy Memorial Day to you all. Even though this is not a day that you celebrate retirees or current service members or veterans, I do thank all of you that have served for your service. And let's definitely keep at the front of our mind on today that this is not a beach day. This is not a day to go to the mall and catch sales. This is a day to honor those that gave their life for us to have these freedoms that we take for granted so much here. So great to see you, man. I literally just got off the road and I got the notification. I missed your monologue. I'm sorry. LeBay and I just got back to the house, but I saw your title and I was like, I gotta at least show my face, man. So I'm not gonna stay on too long. But brother, I see you. I see you.
Yeah. Yeah, we gotta. And I mean, Ms. Washington said some things where it's like, okay, I gotta clip that and I gotta add my own voice to what she just said. All right, if we gotta get bold and start categorizing y'all out here, then I guess y'all really gonna hate me now.
Right. So can I give my humble 2 cents real fast?
Yes, please. Mr. Grace, Mr. Andrew, do you mind? All right, appreciate y'all.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Shout out to Big Bad Bull and Devon Bryant. Good to see you, brothers. I know I've been away for a while, but
you've been getting on El Guapo about showing up, so you can't say nothing.
Yeah, I am here. I am here right now. I apologize. I took a little time for myself, but I digress. So here we go. Your title is incendiary. Let us look at why Black women hate Black men. It is time to change. Change requires a deep dive into what the root cause is of the problem. And I'm going to be honest with you. I think that, y'all, so get ready to kick me off, Uncle Stu. You ready? I'm going to say it, okay? I'm going to say it. You ready?
Okay.
I think Black women have more of a problem with themselves and where they are. And how they treat Black men is simply a reflection of that.
Get them!
And I'm going to be honest with you. I think there is a deep-seated self-loathing amongst Black women today. And it's apparent in their appearance. Period, point blank. They don't like the gray texture or grain of their hair. They don't like their face in its natural state. I always, and much respect, TJ, I have nothing but respect for you and your husband, but I love the fact that you show your freckles. Your imperfections make you perfect. You know what I'm saying? And what we have is a culture of Black women that have drank the Kool-Aid in excess of everyone else in this country. And they realize now that they're being poisoned, but they feel pot committed. It's like an alcoholic that goes through the shakes when they have withdrawal. They're afraid of going through the pain of correcting the action, and they lash out at everyone because of that. I really think that Black women don't hate Black men as much as they disdain themselves. I will tell you this, and I want to give a little silver lining. Ladies, once you're willing to take a step, a lot of the brothers are willing to take 2 or 3 for you. What we want to see is some effort in moving into the right direction. So that image that Black women have is earned. Nobody thrust it upon them. And Juana, I heard you. You're right. Not all people are the same. But I'm going to tell you, a group of people is always going to be judged by their worst representation. That's facts. So if as Black women, you don't like the representation that is out there for you all, it's imperative that you go and deal with your worst. And that's that. What do you guys think?
That would be a grow you real moment.
Yeah, I'm clipping that. I'm clipping that one. Be like, El Guapo say.
Clip it up, brother. It's all you. It's all you.
I think a lot of our young Black women need to have heard what you just said, because it's so true for the younger generation, and they don't realize that they are perpetuating the stereotypes by buying into all of these things that the younger generation of Black females are doing. And I think you hit the nail on the head. I'm sorry to have to say it, but I think you hit the nail on the head when you said that there are Black women that don't love themselves, and that's why they can't love a Black man, or any man for that matter.
And they fooled themselves into thinking that they do.
Yes.
How absolutely. Do I know this? I was one of them.
Very true on both counts. And Brown Eyes, I'm going to tell you right now, that is not exclusive to Black women. It's impossible for anybody. You can't listen. You can't pour into somebody else what you don't already have in you. So if you can't love yourself, how can you love someone else?
100%. I
Yeah.
100% agree with that. I mean, you need to put the work in, and Uncle Stu and I have talked about this. You need to put the work in yourself
Mhm.
before you can put the work into a relationship or with somebody else. You've got to know your self value and your self worth before you can do anything with anybody else. And that's not something that unfortunately is taught to people in this day and age.
Yeah.
It's people that are in our age group know that, but the younger generation unfortunately takes a back seat to that and don't think we kind of know what we're talking about when we tell them these things.
Yeah. And it's gotten to the point. Can I say this, Uncle Stu, and then I'm gonna
Yeah,
digress
because
and
I was
step
reading
into the
the comment.
background,
I
right?
wanted y'all to kind of comment to what someone else is saying here. Go ahead. I'm gonna put it up on the screen if y'all can see it.
Yeah, let's see. Where we at?
She says, y'all basing quote self-love merely on hair.
Mhm.
White and Latina women are more likely to get cosmetic procedures done. White women way more likely.
Yeah, so you're comparing apples to golf balls there. It's
Yeah.
not the same thing. So
Right.
elective surgery is completely different than the multi-billion dollar hair industry that is fueled by Black women. It just is. So, and here's the thing. The saying exists that the truth hurts. I've got a good buddy of mine that I was in the military with, and he says that the wounds of a friend are faithful. Okay. So if I say something to you and it stings, understand that it comes from a good place, because I'll be quite honest with you. We don't even have to have the conversation. I'm good. So I'll tell you like this. Yes, that is a key. You know what a KPI is? Whomever that was that put that comment up. That's a key performance indicator. That is a key indicator. You are projecting your appearance outward voluntarily away from what your natural state is. So if it's not that, then what is it? If it's not the fact that you don't think that someone else's hair is better than yours, like just the simple fact that you would go through all that you go through, not only to secure and procure, to budget for something like that, when you have the most versatile hair on the planet as a Black woman.
Oh, please. Can I just like chime in on this for a second?
Hold on, Simon. I got two gentlemen. Okay. Grace just dropped, so hopefully Grace will come back. Let me get Mr. Andrew, because he's been real patient. What you got to say to anything you heard up here, Mr. Andrew? First of all, thank you and welcome to Emancipated Studio. Appreciate you, sir.
Hello, one. Grateful Memorial Day, because I was learning the proper salutation. Grateful Memorial Day to people that have served, that will serve, and have comrades that have been lost in arms. You know, that hits you guys the most. All I have to say is, whether it comes to religion, shame, and everything else, the people today and children today are very analytical. They look for immediate gratification. So, which means the messages that we've learned, because I'm 46, I'm in that funny generation where we had a little shame, but we watched technologies grow and transition. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, women in our era will often say that, oh, a guy has to work blue collar in order to be a real man. They don't want to be too intelligent sometimes. We look frowned upon when we had showed a certain amount of intelligence. You know, if we were sensitive, we were deemed weak. So now they raise some of their youth to be the opposite of it. And chicken's coming to roost. All I have to say is we have to take out the expectations of shame and put it with being practical. It is not practical to be too promiscuous in this day and age. It's not practical to show negative images and be negative. It is not practical to do certain things. We won't use religion as verbatim, but we'll use it as stories to teach morals and values. That's the only way it's going to be palatable to these children and the future generations. We have to try to set forth more organizations that allow us to maximize ourselves as people. We have to be self-accountable now. You know, again, we are not necessarily homogenous, but we still have to come together and create a certain standard, in particular as Black people. We have to say, okay, we're going to accept this. We're not going to do certain things. We're going to shame them, whether it be in hip hop, arts, and everything else. We have to create a standard and say we're not accepting it anymore. Sometimes we have to shame these companies that try to go ahead and make profit from our baser instincts, like the worst of us. That's what they showcase. You can have 5 vocalists. The Black vocalists that do positive music are put into the back burner. Some of our greatest singers are still alive, yet we don't hear them anymore. But we hear about people that are killing each other, people that have the most negative images, people that have the worst stereotypes are put up in the forefront to represent us, when that's not the case. We have wealth, we have buying power, and we have the fact that we set a standard pretty much in every continent we go to. We do not monetize, or not monetize, we do not utilize the power of influence. Could you imagine what would happen if we said, no, this is a shame, this is not tolerated anymore? You know what happens is, we set the trend for the world. We could do this again. We did so biblically, we did so spiritually. We could take it all back. We have to take it all back. I have to start in my household. I have to check myself sometimes. I have to learn to, with my brethren teach me, to learn to subdue my passions and impulses and work more on what we could do to be more positive. That's why they hated KS. That's why they're going to come after Uncle Stu in the future, because he's trying to be practical. Forget morality. It's being practical. It's not practical to be loose. You could get sick. It's not practical or attractive to have multiple children outside of wedlock, because it's not efficient to raise a functional household. It's not healthy. It's not economically sound, and you don't get to build on yourself as a person. And unfortunately, a lot of our institutions always kind of celebrate these things, these weaknesses, and celebrate them instead of trying to say, it's dead wrong, you need to improve. Men, you're not just breeders, you are supposed to be leading a household and setting the tone and example. I mean, I went to a military high school. I came from a West Indian background. Certain things were not applicable. I was just taught to do certain things a certain way because there was not a logical reason to go any other direction. I just don't understand now. People go all over the place because they're not taught the logic of it. You know, forget morals, ethics, and everything else, because these kids don't have it anymore. It's immediate gratification. Anything they want to do, they can see online and try to emulate. And even when people get wealthy, look how they change up. Look how they change their dress from baggy pants to suits now. But now we have to go ahead and try to establish those standards. We have to have different reasons for children to dress up and learn how to fix themselves. And I say this all the time. Why is it a child knows how to make a do-rag before they learn how to tie a tie? Why is it they don't know how to be comfortable walking in shoes? Do you understand if you don't learn how to prepare yourself for certain things in the workforce, you already are 10 steps behind? If a child does not get used to wearing and dressing a certain way to perform in the society, you're done and you're dead. You're going to be 10 years behind when you have to make up and catch up. Not everyone's doing these basic things anymore, because guess what? We're not going to church anymore. We're not dressing up to do certain things. We don't establish a certain type of standard. That's just my 2 cents on it. You know, I mean, I respect what people have to say, but even with women, guess what? Here's a reality. We all have 100 points. We're not all going to have 1,000,000 points in beauty. We're not going to have 100 points in fitness. But guess what? You can control the quality of your personality. You control being feminine and being a gentleman. You can control how you dress yourself. As long as you have that appeal and elegance, it goes a long way. There's some people that are not perfect in look, but they're attractive. You don't know why, but you're drawn to that person. And until people start growing up and learning that, that's what it is. Because you can't be nasty and be attractive. And I'm talking from a spiritual sense. You know, that's my 2 cents, Uncle Stu. Thank you.
Okay, you're definitely welcome. TJ, I'm going to address it, and then I'm going to let you address it, okay? I'm going to address something real quick. Number one, so that everybody that's new here, you know, I'm one that really doesn't always read my chat messages when I'm dealing in a panel, but I have a young lady in the chat, and I'm going to address her, but I'm also going to challenge her. Hit the link and come up and let's have an intellectual conversation, because I feel if you believe that black boys in elementary school is teasing black girls about their hair, you got a lot to learn. So let me address this. You've been talking about black women being shamed. Well, if you really want to understand where did this European look come from, I don't hear black men telling black women to go put extensions in their hair. I don't hear black men saying, I want you to have long, orange, red, blonde, blue hair down to your ankles. What I hear black men saying is, we want natural look because we like the way you look that God created you. Now, let me say this to you as well, and I said it before. You have every right. We got veterans up here. You got every constitutional right to look the way you do. You got every constitutional right to wear any color hair you want. You want to speak any way you want. But all I'm going to tell you is you can control everything about you, but you can't control the outcome. So you can believe what you want to believe. But if your outcomes is still the same 6 months from now, a year from now, don't blame black men because we're telling you what we like, what we love. So let me put it into a practical term. If you knew Brown Eyes less than 3 months ago, she had long extensions in her hair. She knew how I felt about it. I told her I love her in her natural. Today, she's wearing natural. So she recognized, hey, you're not doing this because I'm trying to dominate you. I love what God gave you as an individual. I didn't fall in love with her hair. I fell in love with her character. So you could go back and forth and say black men shaming you. If you read any real books by black feminists of the 1980s, they're going to tell you that they fought against white women images. In other words, where do you think when they started wearing dreads in their hair, afros in their hair, that was all natural. That were black women that went back into chemicals in their hair, wearing long extensions in their hair. Who was they wearing their hair for? Wasn't black men, especially today's black man. So that's my take on it. But again, you're open to come up and speak. TJ, I'm gonna she's here.
Yeah. Oh, she's here. I'm impressed.
Yeah. Well, Stu, Mr. Grace has been waiting. Can we let Mr. Grace talk?
You're absolutely right, Mr. Grace. What do you have to say? Bolo, let me see if I can get you up in here. Okay, I got an all-star cast tonight.
Hello, everybody. Happy Memorial Day, and thank you for having me. The conversation has gone a lot of different places, so I will just kind of address the title, and that's what I came on here for: Black women hating black men, or really just the fact that we have discontent in our relationships, and there's a lot of reasons for that. But I think that one thing that can be solution based is that we got to let go of these traditional arrangements, and we got to realize that nowadays people have evolved past that. People have evolved past the cookie cutter man, woman, and 2.5 kids, and we got to stop holding each other to that relationship model. And we have to realize that some people, both men and women, some of them prefer more flexible and more fluid arrangements. And that has to start to be okay for consenting adults to do things that they want to do. And we have to start being open and honest with each other, because what I see, one of the reasons why black women hate black men is because black men are not being entirely truthful about what we're doing when we're dealing with these black women. And so from what I've experienced, you'd be surprised what a woman will be okay with, as long as you are open and honest and upfront about it. And I think that we need to start to give each other the space to be honest and to be ourselves. And we got to realize that some people are just not going to be that come home and cook for you, just like we've accepted that women are not going to be the come home and make your dinner and make your household type thing. Sometimes we're going to have to cook, or sometimes we're going to have to clean up as men. because they're just out there, they're working out there, they're out there working just as bad as and just as hard as we are. So just like we had to accept that, and that's become okay, and we've accepted that our women have now succeeded past us in the corporate workplace, and just as the primary breadwinners of the household, we have to start to accept more fluid and flexible arrangements when it comes to our romantic relationships with each other. Because if we keep lying and keep saying, yeah, you know, it's going to be me and you, and it's just going to be me and you, meanwhile, I got a whole other family on the other side. And nowadays with social media and everything, see, back in the day, you used to didn't see his second family until the funeral, until he died. Then you get to the funeral and you see he got a whole another family on the other side of town. See, nowadays you can't do that. And nowadays we're having so many issues because people are not being 100% honest about what they're doing, both men and women. And so I think that if we allow each other to be who that person is, be more flexible and be more fluid, that will kind of cut down on some of the problems that we're having, and that'll, I think that'll help. Because one thing a black woman will tell you is that if you keep it real with me, I can't do nothing but respect whatever it is that you say, and whether I agree with it or not. And that's been my experience with black women. As long as I've been honest and upfront with them, it may not be what they wanted to hear, but at least they respected it and they couldn't challenge me on it later on down the road, you know. And I think the second thing we need to do is we need to let go of celebrity culture. Celebrity culture has been poisoning us and making us think that we are represented a certain way, especially for, I will say, for this stereotype that black men still go after white women. That is a athlete and an entertainer penchant. But the majority of black men date, marry, and have their kids by black women. And there's a statistic that I just read on blackdemographics.com that says that nearly 85% of black men that earn 100K or more marry black women. We keep our dollars in our household, but you wouldn't think that because the way we are represented in popular culture and media, it shows us with a Kardashian, or it shows us with, you know, whoever, a Janae Aiko, or somebody who is not black like us, culturally black or physically black, right? So I think we have to stop, we have to divorce ourselves from that. And we have to realize that that is a very small group of people. And the majority of us, the black men and black women that are just regular old people that either go to school or go to work, we deal with each other. And we've always been like that. And that's just my 2 cents on that. I think that I think those two things we have to stop letting our popular culture poison our expectations for each other. Because a lot of women, I think nowadays, what El Guapo was saying, a lot of women are not content. It's not just with themselves. It's about their expectations out of life has become so jacked all the way up to here that when they meet a man, they want endless ecstasy, trips and vacations, and they just want romance and fantasy every single day in and day out. And that's because from the time they were little girls all the way up, they've been told that they are the prize. They've been told that that a man needs to sweep them off their feet, and so their expectations have become morphed, I would say, and it becomes unrealistic, you know. And I just think that that's not sustainable. You know, you can't have trips every 3 months. You can't go to the concerts and the events and then go to work and still make your household. So, you know, I just think that we need to recalibrate our expectations out of out of life and out of each other. And once we do that, then I think we can get on a better understanding with each other.
I'm going to challenge a couple of the statements that you made, and I want to hear your feedback. One, you said that black men are not dating out, and the reason I challenged that, Brown Eyes and I just went out, and we saw multiples of black men with white women, white women with black men. definitely in the 30s and 20s. Okay. I just left New York 3 weeks ago where I see it overpopulated with multiplicity. That blackdemographics.com statistic also broke things down in the generation. So
Absolutely.
my generation, yes, dated and deals with Black women. But if you want to talk about earlier millennials and the Gen Zs, nah, they're not feeling that. They going and dating who they love and care about. So you have to read the data according to the way it was written.
Sure.
So that data that you read was not the whole population. That data was written according to generation. Okay. The second thing that I'm going to challenge you on is you talked about, and tell me if I got it wrong. 1 minute you're saying, well, men need to be upfront and honest, but then you gave the wild expectations of women. I'm going to challenge that because in a lot of male platforms, and I don't want to always say manosphere, Black male dominated platforms, when they are speaking their truth, they are speaking their expectations, these men are crucified for even opening up their mouth. They are crucified for having a First Amendment rights to even express themselves. But a woman can not only get on a YouTube platform, she can get on national television and say anything she wants about a Black man, and is considered truth. We as Black men, we got to go get data. We got to go get statistics. We got to, Guapo and I got to sit here and literally chop up 20 hours of video to prove one point. A Black woman, okay, I'm going to just use TJ as the example. She doesn't do this. I'm going to just use it as an example because she's a content creator. She can open up her laptop, get on and say, if Guapo did X, Y, and Z, she ain't got to have no proof that El Guapo did anything. And I guarantee you the next time El Guapo do it live, there'll be 20 women in El Guapo's chat whooping up on him, talking about why you said this about TJ, and yada, 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 right? Let's just keep it a buck. Now,
let me tell you the truth, though, Uncle Stu. I probably did everything TJ accused me of, especially if it involves. Never mind. Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
But if El Guapo says something about TJ, he got to have receipts. He better have the video. It better not be edited. It better not. So why does a Black man got to go over and beyond to speak his truth? But a Black woman doesn't have to go over and beyond to say whatever she wants to say. These are the things these men are dealing with. Second, why is it that a Black woman can walk into HR and just say anything about a Black man or about any man? Any man. It's not investigated to the point where if she is caught lying, she has no repercussions at all. At all. But if you or I is caught doing that, we going to jail. Okay?
Well,
that's a fact.
There are a lot of things that intersect.
I kind of challenge, and if I'm wrong, I want other people on the panel to step in. But I kind of challenge that aspect. And I usually don't challenge people on my platform because I like everybody to have a voice. Sure. But I have to challenge that because, again, I think we're struggling in what really is today's truth. Are we taking a book that was written in the 1980s and trying to make it today? If we're talking about equality, do we have true equality? I got two people on the panel. I finally got tell me how you say your name, young lady. Lashid. Okay, because I don't want to mispronounce your name. Miss Rashid, and then I got Ms. Vondale, and I just want to say to you, Ms. Vondale, I saw the clip, and I am very honored to have you on the platform. I respect your son, always respect your son, and it's an honor to have you up here on my platform today. So I just want to thank you. Do you have 30 seconds? I wanna kind of give that repronounce it again. I'm an old man. Lashida. I don't want to mispronounce her name. Say it one more time.
For you. Lashid for you.
Lashid. Okay. I want to kind of give her opportunity to kind of respond because she was saying things in the chat, and I respect the fact that she left the chat and was willing to come to the panel. And I don't get that often where people just spouting stuff in the chat, and then when you tell them to come to the panel, they don't show up. She showed up. So I just want her to kind of respond to what she was saying in the chat, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. I respect it too, Uncle Stu. That's dope.
Okay.
Salute, Rashid.
All right. How y'all doing?
How you doing?
I've been in YouTube now for nearly 14 years. Okay. I've been listening to a lot of the gender bashing rhetoric from both Black men and Black women. I have been making videos up in here for years. My channel eventually terminated. My original channel eventually terminated. Yeah, and I have spoken on behalf of Black men and Black women, but I'm better able to speak for Black women as a Black woman. Now, understand, I started school in the late 70s. I'm from Chicago. My mama was with the Black nationalists. I started school in the late 70s. I'm almost 50 now. Okay. Now, understand, I'm old enough because I know you got a lot of these younger people, and they've been listening to a lot of this rhetoric, like, there was Black men getting bashed on Oprah Winfrey. And I have done videos because like I said, I remember when Oprah Winfrey's show was AM Chicago. I remember before it went national. Oprah Winfrey's show actually, and I'm not a fan of Oprah Winfrey. I don't give a shit about Oprah Winfrey. Oh, excuse me for cursing. But Oprah Winfrey, her shows initially, when she was doing shows on relationships, when she went into that area, before it was kind of like like these shows, The View and all that stuff, and she'd have celebrities with recipes and all that kind of stuff. But when she started going in that direction, actually, it was white women. It was mainly middle class. It was like she was exposing white America, middle class, upper class, soccer moms, celebrities. It was white men who were actually, she didn't care about Black women. Only Black women she seemed to care about was her Black friends. But I noticed from when I came in social media, and understand, this is before the Cynthia G's. I remember when Cynthia G and Chrissy, for instance, if you know of their channels, I remember when they were being referred to as Mammy Mules. And they have used the Oprah Winfrey excuse or the Terry McMillan excuse as a reason for continuously bashing Black women up in here. I have seen this. I've seen how from before Tommy Sotomayor, Sergeant Willie P, I have witnessed what has been going on before you really had this divestment movement. And understand, I'm not with these women either. Okay, I've made videos going against them as well. This idea that, Black, now you're playing down to this El Guapo, you're playing down the experience that Black females have. I know as a Black female with 4B, 4C texture hair, I know when I went to school, I had one of them Black mamas. She was a Black nationalist, but she didn't know how to do Black girls' hair. Okay, so she would even send me to the school, what we call back then a natural. They say Afro now, but we used to say, like in Chicago, you're natural. I know. The first thing I was taunted on by a little Black, the first thing I was taunted on was my hair. My grandchild recently, who started school recently, the first thing she was taunted on, she was told, you got crusty edges. Okay. Y'all are talking as if all we want is natural hair. No, you cannot fool me. I grew up. What were you saying, El Guapo, when you had songs like Willie D's Bald-Headed Hoes? I remember when I was in school. Now, thank goodness. Now, even though my hair was wild and all, my hair was, and my mama gave me the Jerry curl, wouldn't get my Jerry curl done on time and all that. But I remember when the BDB jokes. I remember when, like if a girl, I never was bald-headed, but I had a sister whose hair, because she was electrocuted. But I remember when yeah, when the Willie D song and black girls get taunted, like let's say if their hair was shorter than if it didn't reach their shoulders, what you see, D, what you see, D, I see some bald headed hoes. You're talking, see, I was there. You can't fool me. It wasn't that long ago. It is only in more relatively recent years, okay, that I have heard. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand with the Black Power movement, nationalism of the 70s and all of that. But that faded out real quick because you had the promotion of the Apollonias, the Vanities, the Jane Kennedys and all of that in the 80s. Oh, you know, it was the time of the light-skinned women and the light-skinned men in the 80s. You know, Leon Isaac Kennedy. See, I'm old enough. I may not be that old, but I'm old enough to remember, okay? And the princes, and you know, it was the idea of the so that whole mentality of the 70s had kind of faded out by the 80s, okay? So, and there was a time when you had black men and women putting just as much chemicals and stuff in their hair. However, with hip hop and then Bobby Brown, the promotion of Bobby Brown, and it was black women who was putting black men, dark-skinned black men, and particularly on the pedestal, even going as far as saying light-skinned men is played out. Even going that far and saying light-skinned men is played out, dark-skinned men is in. I remember this. But, and it did feel to the degree that some of it was being reciprocated. You had songs like Baby Got Back and all that, but you had the bling era and all that, the promotion of Jennifer Lopez and everything. What I'm saying is this idea, you're trying to make it as if, oh, all that black women is heard is we want to hear you, we want to see your head naturally. B2B, that wasn't that long ago. Martin, B2B, what were you saying about that? Since, you know, and for you to even make a comparison when men, oh, we wear our hair natural, that means we have more self-love. Well, let me tell you this. If you got the white woman, you don't have to get the weave in your hair. You don't have to get the contacts. You got the whole package. And I'm not saying that you're getting with the white woman. I'm not saying that. But when you look at loyalty, what is worse, to trade your hair or to trade your mate? Black women, you can't get no more loyal. The O.J. Simpson jury proved that. Black women, they still looked at the evidence. They still saw reasonable doubt, despite this man leaving his wife for a white woman, his wife and his black wife and black family for a white woman. Black women still, we may talk a lot of shit, but when it boiled down to it, we ready to scratch somebody's eyes out over black men. And that is why there's this promotion of the divestors. Why do you think these divestors, they hate, they'll call a black woman like me who love black men, Mammy Mule. They call us pick-me's and stuff because they know the mass of black women love and cling to black men. They saw this evident with the O.J. Simpson. They saw this with how black women responded to R. Kelly. You can't get this idea, black women hating black men. You can't get no loyal than black women. With the Are You Interested app, I had did it back in 2017. I did a video on that. It showed these women people seeking the opposite sex, and it was some Facebook app. Are you interested? It showed every group of women, white, Latina, Asian, they were all seeking white men first and black men last, except for black women. We were the only ones seeking black men first and white men last. However, with black men, it was not the same. Asian women, everybody was Asian women first, except for Asian men. They were Hispanic women first, and every single one, including black men, were seeking black women last. So for black women to be questioned on loving, on hating black men, when I think of Ida B. Wells, who went up against the suffragists, who were pissed off that black men got the right to vote before them. When I think of the black men, I forget the movement, the George Soros funded movement. I ain't thinking about that, but I'm talking about those who are sincere. Black women, this ain't symbolic support. When black men, whether it's Trayvon Martin or whoever, Sean Bell or whoever, women like myself, who will be out there taking rubber bullets and all of that. So I'm just saying, I just basically.
Okay, I'm gonna because you brought El Guapo's name up, so I'm gonna definitely let him, defend and address him. But let me address a couple of the talking points you gave. First of all, I'm 54. Second, I'm from New York. Third, I grew up in the 70s and 80s. One of my wife's favorite songwriters and hip hop artists is LL Cool J, who talked about Around the Way Girl. If you want to go there, you have to remember Chicago and New York is two different cities, and we operate two different ways. So let's deal with today. I don't see this vitriol for Kamala Harris. I don't see this vitriol for the new Supreme Court justice. I don't see this vitriol for the black women who boldly dated out, including your world famous tennis player today. So I need to understand the vitriol. Where is the vitriol towards the women that went to the white men? Second, when we begin to talk about black women's loyalty, the vitriol that I seen on these YouTube streets, and even my wife and I went to a restaurant where we heard the vitriol of another content creator, and whether you like him or not, the vitriol for this man who never taught that, but it's the vitriol that goes with it. So now, the other argument that I give is black men the original question? Are we to marry into color or character? And the question becomes color over character, because if I said, fine, let us deal with straight black women. So let me send my brothers to Jamaica. Let me send my brothers to Haiti. Let me send my brothers to Nigeria. Let me send my brothers to the black Canadians. Let me send my brother to the black British women. Let me even send my brothers to the black women that live in the Philippines, some of the black women that live in China. What do you say to those men? Are they now no longer permitted to do that? We are not dealing with Generation X. I'm dealing with earlier millennials. I am dealing with Gen Zs. They didn't have, as TJ said, they don't have my background, her background, your background. None whatsoever. So you're going to now try to convince 30 and 20 something that sees the vitriol coming from African-American women. You're going to convince them to stick with women that has boldly got on here and said, we don't respect you. I have personally taken my own wife personally to stores where black girls don't even smile at me. I raised 4 black daughters. 3 of them was all married before the age of 30. And she witnessed for her own 2 eyes black girls that won't even smile at me. Yet, you get this white girl that'll be hat smiling. You get the Asian woman that's smiling. You get the Hispanic woman that's smiling. This is my own personal experience. But what I'm going to do, because you kept bringing El Guapo's name in it, I'm going to kind of let him speak to whatever he may have said that I'm totally confused, because I never heard of this other stuff.
All right. Thanks, Uncle Stu. Hey, Lashid, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
So I hear what you're saying. I do hear what you're saying. And I'll be honest with you. I applaud you for even coming up. And it is completely pointless for me to try to win an argument. What I would like to do is maybe try to refocus your perspective. So I've been reading your comments and stuff like that. My number one question to you is, what should black women own that they've done wrong?
You're asking me, what should black women own that we've done wrong? Well, in not following, I'm a Bible believer, not following the words of the Most High when it says, when we're talking about the roles of women.
Don't word salad me. Just give me the answer.
That's just what I said. In
right,
following the words of the Most High, in supporting, if we are not doing our roles as women, as supporters and supporters of our men and our family and the nurturers to our families, that is a sin. And yeah, there are going to be consequences. I believe it is wrong for black women to bash black men. And that is why I address these things in videos, probably more than a lot of you men do. But
that's fine. So let me ask you this. Do you think that black women are doing their part up to the level and par that they should?
Do I feel? No, I don't.
Okay. So whose responsibility is it to fix black women? Is it black women or is it black men, or is it white? Because I heard you talking about white women in the chat and how black men address that. And what happens in these conversations that forces us to let me finish my thought, if you don't mind. That forces us to get in these perpetual roundabouts of speaking with no solution is the fact that the people that have ownership of what needs to be addressed don't address it.
What you doing?
So what I would say is, what do you, Lashid, and black women need to do to improve? Specifically, not philosophically, specifically. And until you can answer that, don't come to us for anything. Because you know what? Everybody has a sob story. Everybody has been through trauma. Everybody is hurting. And it is your responsibility for you to fix you. And that's it. And like, if you really want to get into the weeds with it, and Uncle Stu, I'm going to respect your platform, so I'm going to try to say this as politically as possible, right? You talk about the responsibility of black women. Well, at what rate do black women divorce black men? I'll tell you this. Black women have terminated the lives of black children at a rate twice the size of the Holocaust and the Jews. So before you come to me and talk to me about anything, how about you fix you? You talk about the good word. Before you look at the speck in my eye, how about you remove the log in yours? And that's just as real as it gets. And it's not my responsibility. You know, people are celebrating the passing of Kevin Samuels. And women of our hue don't realize that that was your last bastion of hope. Because the rest of us aren't even willing to have the conversation. At least he was willing to talk to you. So before I hear a word about white women and all this and all that and Martin and BDB and all that stuff, what are you specifically doing to fix your very finite demographic amongst people? And until you can answer that with certainty,
got a lot of questions.
Don't come to me with anything.
Okay. Well, first
that?
of all, I've been in YouTube for a while, like I've said, and like when
you sound really far away, I can barely hear you.
Okay, let me move the mic closer. Like, see, sisters like myself, instead of doing videos talking about the hair-hatted hooligans and all of that, I've done videos where I cut off all my hair and decided to go natural. And I'm not tripping over a sister wearing weaves if she wears weaves. I still may put extensions, like braided extensions, because it's hair. Hair is dead. But you know, sisters like me, we have actually gotten a lot of. There's actually more sisters today natural than there were in the 90s and 80s. Actually, it's just there's a fine line. Oh yeah, most definitely. Oh yeah, there are a lot more sisters natural today than in the 90s and the 80s. They're not putting the box perms in their hair. It's like there's a fine line. Either they're wearing the lace front wigs or they're straight natural. It's not that much in between as they were. See, the thing is, they may not have been wearing the lace fronts and stuff as much as they were in the 90s and 80s, but they were still putting chemicals in their hair. They were still pressing their hair. They were still putting, you know what I'm saying, altering their hair. Okay. And a lot of these people who talk about the hair-hatted hooligans, many of their mamas wore wigs and stuff. I know my mama wore wigs, you know, with the bobby pins and stuff. You know, and so many of these same people back in the 60s and stuff, their mamas was wearing wigs. Okay. But anyways, you know, I didn't know that hair was a big problem. Well, see, sisters like me, this is what I'll do. And you know what? I had thousands of people to see my videos. There were sisters who were inspired to go natural because of my videos. I also did a video talking about not fearing the word submit and understanding what the Bible means by submit. So since you're not talking about me when you're talking about the block and the eye, and I'm not perfect, you know, I'm married, me and my husband, it's work. Yeah, it's work. So you're not talking about me, okay? The women that you are talking about are dressed, but you're talking about these women do not represent the majority, and you know this. If we are to say that, then that's to say that Tommy Sotomayor represents the majority of Black men. And I don't care for Kevin Samuels. No, I am not. The majority of sisters are not celebrating. I don't remember being invited to a party. I don't care for Kevin Samuels. I wasn't, but I don't remember any sisters inviting me to a party to celebrate Kevin Samuels' death. I'm sorry. Actually, the ones I think who are celebrating are the ones who are trying to take his place now. But anyways, those are the ones who are actually celebrating. Just because sisters don't care, that don't mean that we are celebrating. However, I do remember O'Shea Jackson, as I have showed, and I will re-upload the audio. I do remember him back in 2016. He was literally applauding and clapping Corinne Gaines being shot and killed by race soldiers, saying that's what the bitch deserves. How dare she tell a white daddy no? And I do remember that. I remember. I remember Tommy Sotomayor throwing a death party celebrating the death of Kanika Jenkins, looping the image of her dead body over and over, having his audience chant "Ice Ice Baby" and all of that.
Okay. This is where I got to cut you off. This is where I got to cut you off. And I do this for a reason. If you're going to make those claims, first of all, let me give you a thanks for coming up here, because like I said earlier, most people wouldn't even do that. But before you start just vitrioling those claims about two content creators, I would ask you, show me the proof before you because just like I said before, women can say anything they want and everybody takes it as true. If a man says something, he needs the facts. I need people that come to this panel. If you're going to say anything,
you want me to play it for you, the audio?
No, I want the video. I want exactly where the video is. Why? I've seen too many content creators take somebody, say something, and then edit it to make it appear that they said something else. So all I'm going to ask you is in my email, which I'll have any one of my moderators put in. My email and my Instagram is in the chat. I want the full clip, and I want to make sure that it's coming directly from O'Shea Duke Jackson.
He put it on private, but I have the audio and I have the proof from when I addressed it in 2016.
Okay, this is what I'm going to ask you to do.
But I don't think you will believe. I think you're going to believe what you want to believe with that.
No. This is what I'm going to do. I need you to send me that via email, and I am going to reach out to O'Shea Duke Jackson myself, because I can get into that privateness that you said he put private, and I'll go up on those.
He's either private or he removed it. But I could show that with Tommy, and I could show that with O'Shea very, very easily. I've done that. I addressed that.
Right, but I can't have that information on my platform unless I got facts.
Okay, that's fine.
So we're gonna shut that down. But what I am gonna do, I'm gonna allow TJ, because she doesn't have too much time.
But
I'm gonna let her speak.
I'm sorry. Can I say one? Can I just in giving closure to what he's saying? Because like I said, this is stuff that I have been witnessing in here for a minute. Like I said, I am not for bashing of Black men. I am not for bashing of Black women. Okay, I am not for that. I'm not, but I do know that there have been people planted up in here as agents to cause divisions between Black men and Black women. I'm not going to tell my people to go outside their race. That goes against, for one, my Bible beliefs and everything. And this idea of whose responsibility, yes, we do have a responsibility. However, I do believe that the Most High, he appointed man as the leader of the household. So when things go apart, okay, even though I'm not saying women sit back and we just wait on men to do everything, but when things in a family fall apart, being that it is the appointed man, woman, child, animals, okay, you got to first look at the man if you want to be seen as the patriarch. And the answer is not jumping the fence. I don't give a damn how much white people smile at me. I've had white people smile at me while giving me the pink slip, okay? White people smiled at us a lot. I don't care for white people smiling at me, okay? I'm looking at what's really behind that smile, what's really behind that facial expression. I'm sorry, But like I said, I'm not for promoting Kevin Samuels. He promoted that men advocate for men to be with other men. He promoted escort. He promoted
I'm gonna
escort.
shut that down too. I saw the video that everybody's producing. I saw that. I need to stop right there.
Thank you for allowing me up here. I
But
appreciate it.
TJ wanted to speak, and I wanted her to give her opportunity to speak. Go ahead, TJ.
I'm sorry, and I'm gonna be real quick because I know we got Simon, Miss Vondale, and Bolo. So I'm not gonna. But see, here's my picture of my BDBs for real. Okay, y'all see that? Y'all see my picture? So I understand, and I'm not disagreeing with what she said with respect to being teased for natural hair and naturals and stuff like that. I think what my understanding of where men are coming from, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is when they're talking about natural hair, they're talking about hair that's coming out of your head. Now, whether it be straight, whether it be kinky, whether it be whatever, whether it be braids or attached, I think that that's what they're talking about. I think men are talking about seeing hair that belongs to you sometimes. I wear wigs. I don't have a problem with it. But my husband sees my hair sometime. I think that's what men are talking about. What is the real woman? Whether it be your natural hair in its natural state, or if it's the hair that's coming out of your head, whether it be processed, whether it be, whatever. I think that's what men are talking about in the sense of being able to know what your woman looks like underneath it. So, because again, my mom wore wigs, I wear wigs sometimes. I think it's just what do you look like without all of the stuff, I think is what men are talking about. And with respect to you know, I've made it plain, I would have wanted my daughter's first boyfriend to be a black young man, but it wasn't because black young men weren't checking for her, they weren't treating her nice. It was a white young man that did it. But I'm grateful to that young man because he taught my daughter what she was worth. So when she met my son-in-law, she could identify what a good man was. But also, I have to say, and I'm not down in black women, but I speak it one thou wow because some of us are just not freaking nice. And that's just the bottom line. We're not nice. We talk too fucking much. We think we know everything. And I'm saying it because I was one of them. And if I would have kept acting like that, I would have kept my ad, I would have still been single. So what I am trying to do, what El Wapo is saying, what are we doing? What am I doing? I'm trying to share with some of the young women, we get in our own way. We're not nice. We don't speak. And when they speak to like, what you speaking at me for? We don't, even and I'm, everybody know I knew Kevin. We went to school together. I didn't rock with everything he said, but there's some things I did rock with. The truth of the matter is whether you say it nice, whether you say it direct, I'm speaking in general, black women don't want to hear shit from nobody. Period. Period. We don't want constructive redirection. Unless we saying, yeah, girl, you said that shit, girl, you got, it's not it. And then we wonder why we're miserable as fuck. We wonder why we can get a man but can't keep one. Shout out to you, sister, that you have a husband. I'm glad I got my mind right so I could get one. Even my husband said just the other day, him and his parents were married until his mother died. But he was just saying the other day, sometimes he would hear his parents arguing, saying, "Why my mom just be quiet?"
Okay.
Women got to have the last word. I get it. Sometimes it's just not worth it. Sometimes we just got to be right all the time, and it doesn't get us anything. So I'm not speaking to you per se, Lashid. I'm talking about in general. We get in our own way. And that's what I think some of the men are talking about. And I didn't get that. I didn't even get it 10 years ago. And that's probably why I wasn't married 10 years ago. There are plenty of things that I could say, well, you should do it that way. You should do. But I had to learn to be quiet sometimes. It just ain't worth it. Am I still smart? Am I still a leader? Am I still this? Can I hold it down? Absolutely. But sometimes we women, black women, we're just not nice. I'm not just saying it. My mom, who's 72 years old, said the same thing because she messed up a lot of stuff because having to be right all the time. That's where I'm coming from. And I think that's where some of the men are coming from. So that's all I got on that.
Yeah,
And I'm
I understand. I mean, I'm very. It's really good that you're being honest, even about yourself, and where you may have had. Yeah, I totally hear what you're saying. I have encountered a lot of that unniceness. I've encountered that meanness myself. I've said that. However, there are all men who have complained about women being nags, and this is something that men have complained about, and that's why it wasn't black men who started the whole thing with the mail order bride going over to other countries getting other women. It was white men who started that, getting women, and the divorce rate even with them is rather high. Even if it is not as high as us, why would the divorce rate still be as high as it is? And the number one interracial coupling is actually Asian women and white men. Now nobody questions, well, why do Asian women? Like I said, what is worse, to trade in your hair, or if I may respond, to trade in your hair? Now, one thing about, like, with the hair extensions, that's something that, like, adding extensions, hair is dead. Once it leaves the follicle out your head, it's dead. One thing I noticed with black women, period, we do like accessories. That's kind of African, whether it's Shemitic or Yemetic. We like, and this is something I talked about, things that can be attached and detached, whether it's lashes, hair, bracelets, rings, purses, but we are still way less likely. However, when it comes to having things inserted and injected in your body, and see, I don't know why this.
Let me ask you a question. Have you heard my monologue? Did you hear my monologue?
No, I just came in here. Exactly.
Stop right there.
No, but can I still respond? Can I speak on behalf of?
No, the reason I'm shutting it down, because there's nothing in my monologue that you're speaking to. I need people that either heard the monologue.
Okay, I can see you don't want to hear my opinion.
No, because what I'm hearing is everything that's going to that I never spoke in my monologue.
I'm not just responding to you. I'm not just responding.
But I need, if you're going to address anything, I need it to be addressed to what Uncle Stu said. Not what O'Shea say, Kevin Samuels say.
I was responding to this.
You have not addressed anything that Uncle Stu say or what Uncle Stu said.
I was responding just to the sister in regards to hair.
That's where you're dealing with hair. I dealt with way more than hair. I dealt with color over character. We still haven't addressed those issues. But I want to again say.
Okay, let me stop being rude. Because it's your show.
Can I just interject for a second?
Sure, Simon.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I really do appreciate it.
And I have a woman that also needs to speak, because she's the elder of all of us, and I want to give her her time, because she's been extremely patient. I got Bolo TV, and I know he got other platforms he got to deal with as well. So go ahead, sir.
Yeah, so peace to everybody on the platform. Appreciate everybody. The reason I hopped on Guapo's position statement was intrinsic in terms of what we are actually living through. I actually sort of had to, I've been through a 10-year marriage. I had to sit down with my wife and go through the calculation, the mathematics, in terms of how much she's actually paying day in, day out, year in, year out, to uphold her hair, which is not her hair. It's not her hair. You ladies, hold it for a second. Just chill with me for a sec. You ladies, right, will go to the extreme of this thing that you have been bought into, and you don't even calculate it. You don't calculate it. You're like, someone's got to pay for it. If it's not me, it's it's someone else. Someone's got to pay for it. Something's got to happen, right? And you're putting this thing on your hair. You don't even think about the effect it has on your partner, B, your children, and C, your community. And to be fair, this has gone on for a long time. And I appreciate it's hard to get away from. But you cannot see, if you actually look, just sit in a coffee shop for a second, grab a coffee and walk around and see how many other cultures are actually doing that. Because I had to do that with my I had to do that with my ex-partner. I had to say, look, just sit down, see who is doing that. And what she saw every time, pastime, there was a white person, there was a black person, there was a Latino person, there was a mixed race person, there's a person from Europe. You know, what she saw every time in the link, right, was a black person with this thing on her hair. And I had to sort of go, look, how come that means so much to you? Why does it mean so much to you? Because us as men, we don't actually buy into that. We don't buy into it. It's like,
you have an issue with makeup?
No.
Okay, let me.
I'm talking about your hair.
Yeah, Simon. I don't want to keep talking about hair because that was not my monologue.
Okay, bro.
So let me switch it. Dang, it's been on so long. I don't know who went first, Bolo or Miss Garrett.
No, I didn't go yet. I'll let Miss Garrett go. She's the elder, and
Okay, Miss Garrett. First of all, let me thank you. For those in the chat that doesn't know you, Ms. Garrett, once again, you was on Gale at Night's program. And I heard the beautiful things you said. And, she's in the chat right now. She's moderating. And I just want to say thank you for the beautiful words that you spoke about me when I had your son on this platform. And I want to personally thank you for the kind and generous words that you spoke about. And I hope both of your sons are doing well. So again, let me welcome you to the platform.
Woo, thank you. And I'm the baby up in the house. I'm up in Woo! And I must have got lost up in the conversation because when y'all
and Gail sends her love to you, see?
Oh, hello. How doing? Did I miss something? Oh, when they was talking about hair, I was just like, I've been asked for a lot of things in life, but baby, hair wasn't one of them, okay? But I'm from a different era, all right? And I want to thank you, Uncle Stu, for your compassion, your empathy, and your support. And that's something that we don't have. And that's something that we have lost. We do not, address emotional neglect. We do not address emotional empathy, nor do we not address emotional support. As my husband would say, Marines out first, hoorah, simplify, loyalty, baby, and we lost it, okay? For the brothers that are no longer here, a shout out to them, okay?
Yes,
and I want to thank you for letting me come up on your panel because I'm from Hard Yard University, and it is hard in the yards. You brothers know that, don't you? Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And one of the things that I would like to say is that I was listening. I was like, okay, now what was the original monologue? Because but I really enjoyed it because I was thinking as the young lady was talking, I thought, ooh, I'm a cancer survivor, and the hair would be the last thing on mine that I would be worried about. You know what I'm saying? I would be worried about no hair, but and I don't like to say back in the day. I like to say just around the corner there, as being married for many years before my husband passed away, we laid our cards out on the table. Okay. I don't ever recall looking into his wallet. You guys are 4-star generals because good God, the women are electronic stalkers. They email you, they text message you, they DM you. Good God, can you breathe? And if they knew how you learn, because some men are introverts And introverts are very successful people, and they need to shut out the noise, to think whatever thoughts that they have to be, creative or successful. And I think them was the brothers that kind of uh, invented shut the F up. You know what I'm saying? I The introverts, that's their thing, that's their playground. But I do. But if they knew, because we just had that one size fit all type thing, and if we knew more about each other, emotionally, physically, we would solve a lot of problems. And I just want to tell everybody, even in my day, they didn't solve the problem then, and they sure ain't gonna solve the problem now. It's not.
Oh, oh, oh.
Uh,
Stop, Simon. Don't interject. Don't you dare interject.
I'm pulled back.
Yeah, don't interject. Go ahead, Miss Garrett.
and but what I was saying is that I didn't know Kevin Samuels, but I understood his ideology. And one of the things I would like to say, when he talked about high value, this is what I want to ask the panel. My high value may be my time, which is a priceless commodity. And my high value might be my mind, because I know if anything happens to my mind, I ain't got to worry about the rest. I don't, somebody's there uh, doing the thinking for me. And you have to be careful and very cognitive of how you treat people, because that person standing over your bed might be making that decision on your life. Now you can grab that bag, but you understand what I'm saying? You could
Mm-hmm.
think you could think about, I've made all this money and this is my spouse over here. But if something happens to you, you know, that person is going to be making that decision. And that's kind of where I'm coming from. But I didn't I didn't want the young lady to be, and I don't know, uh she may not be angry, but I'll tell you about anger. um it's a cancer, and it can destroy you. Anything that eat at you is a cancer. It could be your relatives, it could be a job, it could be the relationship you in. And I'm just speaking from my life experiences, okay? Because um, we just kind of need to turn it around. We need to be more respectful to each other. We need to hear each other out. You know, we need to just basically say to each other, you know, something that's just as simple as, I'm sorry. That can we negotiate this? Can we uh, throw this out if it's not working for us? We need to have strategies, to be able to just communicate. And that's what I see. We're not really communicating anymore. You can't fly to another country and think that's going to solve your problems, because when you get there, guess what? You took that shit with you. Okay, anywhere you go, you know I thought that when I came to a different area, I thought, oh, my life is going to be so much better. We can start all over. We're going to change. No, the problems that I had there came with me here, and I had to work through them. But I know it's other people that want to come up on the panel. I truly appreciate you letting me come up and speak. And like I said, I am the baby in the house. And it's just it's just what your mind think you are for as age wise, because I'm still in boot camp. I'm still learning. I was studying about red pill, blue pill, mild cow, tau, whatever. And I'm gonna keep going. You know what I'm saying? And I once again I thank you, and I'll let somebody else have the platform.
Well, let me ask you a question, Ms. Garrett, before you leave.
Okay.
One of the things that I think we're being that you're the baby of the family, I
Yes.
think all of us old folks needs to ask you the most imperative question.
Okay.
How do we get started fixing what we know is broken? What would you recommend us to do?
Sometimes we have people that don't realize that they are broken. Okay. And I remember something that my husband told me, being a survivor's spouse, that's another program, another day, let me tell you. And he was telling me about addictions, that I didn't understand addictions, and he said, you know what, you're gonna learn. You're gonna learn, because if you love me and I don't love myself, then you going down with me too. So you better step back, take a deep breath, and you better decide, who's gonna make it out. He said, because I already decided, you know. And he said, and so he said, I'm 100%, as they say, 100, 100. He said, yes, for sure, 100. And when we get that military type, for the military, when they're 100% disabled, he said, we know when we get off that talk, we're going to 100% die. And whatever we have, there are going to be contributory factors along the way that's going to contribute to our death. So I already know where I stand. Do you know where you stand? And if you don't, he said, I don't have any shackles on your feet. But if you keep hanging out with me and things go sour, then you just place those shackles on your mind. And I said, okay, brother, I get it. I absolutely get it. So we have to start and fix ourselves too. We have to, because there's no way I could, Uncle Stu, be in a relationship and I'm coming bringing baggage, and then that baggage is going to wear on that person. But what I have to do is be honest and upfront about my baggage. There can be no secrets, no secrets. And that's what I see. That's what I'm seeing happening today, is a lot of secrets. It happened, when I was coming up, there were lots of secrets. And those secrets eventually come out. And then we have to deal with them. What we dealt with, and they don't run that narrative for like the baby boomers, during that time, they were doing nuclear testing. Okay. So we know somewhere down the line, we were going to get it. We might have been that industry for the pharmaceutical company to make that money off of us, because guess what? They had already said, we're doing this testing and, you got it. So I just kind of want everybody today to think about, what is their quality of life? What do they value the most? Their time, their money, their man? What is it? And think about it. Think about that. So Uncle Stu, I'm gonna get off of here and let somebody else talk. And like I said, it was truly an honor and a pleasure to let the baby come forward. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
and again, we give you your honor. This is your husband's day. I too am a veteran. I too am 100%, so I understand that terminology. Um, Brown eyes are just learning that terminology, but we definitely understand it. This is your husband's day. We salute his service. We salute you, and this is your Memorial's Day, and so we celebrate you and we celebrate the life of your husband who served this country and who has served it well with an honorable discharge. And we thank you. And I
Thank
thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. And once again, time is a priceless commodity. And please do not waste your time. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you, Uncle.
Thank you. Bolo TV.
Yo, yo, yo.
What's going on? I couldn't get up with you when I left to New York. I had so much running around to do, but he got buried right there in Brooklyn.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, over there. There's only one black cemetery, one black funeral home over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the service was there.
Wow. Well,
But I am due to go back up to New York soon, so I'll let you know when I head back.
brother, please. I got, first drink is on me.
You got it.
And definitely salute to all of the men and women that serve in the past and the future. And, thank you for your service and fighting for our freedoms. Thank you so much
Yes,
for that.
sir.
I know you guys really sometimes don't get that kudos, but thank you.
You're definitely welcome.
Where do I start? Um, um, I loved hearing Grandma talk, man. I can listen to the elders talk all day. You know, there's so much wisdom and so much understanding in this. It's not, theory. These men and women have went into the streets and tried it out in reality. It's not in the lab. So these are facts that they're kicking. But where I wanted to come from is this, you know, um, relationships are very important for truth to flourish, right? A lot of the times when we give truth without love, it's a weapon. So a lot of the times when someone is saying something to someone, if it's not given with truth, if it's not given with love, excuse me, it falls on deaf ears, right? So I can meet somebody, or Uncle Stu can see me in the street and we're standing online and my breath may smell like 10 years of terror. And he'll just say it to me. Instead of me taking in that critique, I might attack him just for the simple fact that, I don't know him. Who the hell is he to tell me, this truth? Not to harm me, but it's a fact to help me. So the one thing that we've lost in the Black community is that village, right? That support system. So even though I may not directly know you, there's still that love in the air where I can come and tell you, dogs, you tripping, you bugging, let's revamp or whatever. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, within our community, trauma is sold daily in our music, in our television shows. We ingest these things all day, every day, especially in the music, right? So we have so much trauma that happens on both the men's side and the female side. And this kind of leads me into the next statement, but a lot of the times we don't take the time to deal with our trauma, right? We don't take the time to get to know that we have trauma. So we're functioning trauma addicts, right? And then we trauma bond. We get into relationships built off the trauma. Well, I've been through this, you've been through this, and people, they bond, and they think that that's love, and it isn't. It's an empathy and sympathetic thing, but it's not love, because love is not just built on those things, right? Because a lot of the times we think that love is just an emotion, when we need to realize love is an action word. There are things that I need to do. There are things that are set into place for me to invoke that emotion: sympathy, empathy, charity, um, kindness, forgiveness, loyalty, truth, emotion, all these things, generosity, patience, directional, financial, health, protection, nourishing, all these things are the pillars of what we call love, because it would be long for me to tell Lashid, if she was my wife, I empathetically love you, I sympathetically love you, I nourishingly. So we just condense it, right? So we have to understand that it's a action word. It's an action word. This is what it invokes. So we need to understand that we have to get to know ourselves. A lot of the times we don't want to look in the mirror and spend time with ourselves to understand what our trauma is, right? So we jump into relationships and we carry that trauma so far deep within, and that person, the woman or the man, carries that trauma also, and we both don't know, and then we pass it on to our child. This is why the Lord tells you, love your brothers as you love yourself. A lot of us go through that real fast, and we really don't take the time to understand what that means. How can I love my brother if I don't love me? How can I treat my brother if I don't know how to treat me? How can I be kind to my brother if I'm not kind to myself? So, these statements that he makes are so important. It is so important, right? So when we look at men, right, I heard the young lady talking about men, and, we talk about women, when we talk about men, and I'll start off with the men, she was absolutely right when she said that when we're talking about accountability and responsibility, it falls on us, but we're talking about men and their wives. Not my girlfriend, you know, not a girl that I'm smashing, my wife. She's absolutely right, because when Eve transgressed, it wasn't sin until Adam did it, right? So we have to understand that women, wives, are an extension of me. She's a mirror image of me. So if the body is sick, the head is sick. So she was absolutely right. And a lot of times that, we tend to shift the blame. So instead of us saying, and this is where the gender war thing comes in. So instead of me saying, this is the trauma and the dysfunction that I bring to the relationship. I'm not going to look at Lashid. I'm going to look at me and see what I bring to the relationship. I'm not going to continue blaming her, because what she's going to do is blame me. So let me start with me first, and then in turn, she'll follow suit, and then she'll look at herself. And then we'll look at the effect that it has on the environment that we have created together. Now, when it comes to women, you know, that gender is, women are the, they want the authority of a man, they want the privileges of a woman, and the accountability of a child. It doesn't go that way.
Say that one more time. Say it one more time.
They want the authority of a man, the privileges of a woman, and the accountability of a child. You have to pick one. You have to pick what you're going to be. You can't choose and transform in front of us when things get hectic, right? You stand in my face as a man, and then when you slap me, then I slap you back. Why would you hit me? I'm a woman. It doesn't work that way. Everybody has a position to play, right? Masculinity and femininity is perfectly created for each other. It's when we start dissecting it and start adding things to it is when it goes awry. And that's what we've been doing. What we've been doing is we've been trying to make up different terminologies and different ideologies of what masculinity and femininity is, right? So it's not caught up into gender roles, meaning my wife may fix cars better than I do, and I may cook better than her. So you know what? I'm not going to be stupid and say I'm going to fix the car where I know I'm going to break it. Ma, you handle the car, I'll deal with the cooking. My position at home is not caught up on what I bring financially, right? That's a part of it. But Uncle Stu, you said it so eloquently. It's the integrity and the character of the man and who he is serving and who he emulates, right? Because the scriptures tell you a man who findeth a wife findeth a good thing. And again, we go over that. For me to be able to find a good wife, I have to be a good husband. And this is what we just don't get, right? Where are all the good men at? Well, here's how the Lord works. The Lord ain't stupid. A lot of us try to find cheat code to the Lord. We try to add biblical principles to a carnal life. And then we wonder, why doesn't it work? Why doesn't it work? It doesn't work because the Lord is not going to give something good to someone bad. It just is what it is, right? He's not going to give you that key. So no matter how you try to fight, that's why he says, seek ye the kingdom first. Come to me. Don't come to me about wealth. Don't come to me about health. Don't come to me about wife. Come to me because you want a relationship with me. How many of, I would think all of us have children on this panel. How many times do you want your child just to come to you when they want something? After a while, you ain't going to pick up the phone, or you're going to have that conversation. I'm like, yo, dude, why do you only come to me when you want something? How much more our Father? So he says, seek ye the kingdom first, and all else shall be added to you. What is the all else? All the things that you need. I know what you need. You don't have to have that hour-long prayer. I know what you need. I created you, remember? But first, I want you to have that relationship with me. I want you not to just read my book, because you know what we do a lot? How many times have you text somebody and misconstrue what they were saying? And then when you got them on the phone, it was like, nah, man, that's not what I meant. See, a text doesn't give you intonation of someone's voice, the inflection. It doesn't give you context. So a lot of us will read the book and think we got it. And that's not what the Lord wanted. The Lord wanted to give you his voice. We need his voice. And that's the issue. We need his voice along with the word, because the intonation and inflection of his voice can change the whole constitution of what that book is saying. So a lot of us just grab the word, but we don't grab the voice, right?
I don't mean to interject, like Bolo, like I hear what you're saying. I respect you. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, but isn't it a matter of etiquette?
Well, Simon, you're going down a
rabbit
whole
hole
conversation. You
I'll
understand?
I'll pull back. I'm just saying.
Yeah, what I'm trying to do is let Bolo complete his complete thought. Because I'm about to shut down the stream. I'm not a 6-7 hour streamer. I'm letting him.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I'm just saying because I heard
I totally co-sign.
Yeah.
I heard Bolo like speak on this, and I get it, and I think a lot of people get it. I think I think the people want to hear Bolo
No, hold up, Simon.
go somewhere else with this.
No. That's not where Bolo going.
Let me
I
respond
know
to
his
that.
dialogue.
Uncle Stu,
He's
let me
going
respond
down
to
a
that.
Maybe
straight.
not. I don't know.
Uncle Stu,
If
let me
you're
respond
saying
to that.
if you're
Let me
saying no,
respond to
then
that.
I understand it.
No, I'll respond to that, Simon. That's the problem with black people. The problem with black people is we want the breakdown to the heavens, and we having a whole big problem with the damn earth. The simplicity. Life ain't hard, bro. Life is simple. Christ is simple, dog. We make life hard. If we stayed within the parameters of being a husband and being a wife, we wouldn't have all the issues that we have. Doesn't mean that we're not going to have up and downs. We would. But see, when you say, I want to hear something different, truth is truth no matter how you say it, no matter who's saying it, no matter how it's being delivered. And that's the problem with black people. The problem with black people is I don't want to hear what's going to help me. I want to hear what's going to be good for me. And that's the difference. The difference is I'm not here to pander to you. I'm not here to pander to anybody. I'm here to give you the truth. Now, what you do with it is your business.
No,
I'm not here. I'm not
that's,
here to
that's not.
convert any man or to convert any woman.
That's
My
that's
job.
not.
No.
That's
I hear
not.
what
No,
you're saying.
that's not what I was saying.
Let me finish. Let me finish what I'm saying. Because if anyone's been patient, I've been the most patient here. I didn't interrupt nobody.
Same here, but I'm
No,
just
you
saying.
haven't. You interrupt 3 or 4 times.
Right, stop,
All right,
Simon.
look, I'm gonna stop.
Cool. So the point that I'm trying to make, and I'll end it quick because I know you got some things you got to attend to. And that's the issue that we have in the black community. We want to break down arithmetic and break down, all this different type of math, and 1 + 1 we ain't got right. We don't have that right. So before we start going into trying to figure out what's outside of the world, we need to start figuring out what's inside you. That's the point. The point is it starts with you, and then from you, it goes to your family. From your family, it broadens. It goes into the village. That's the problem with us.
Look,
We don't want to take the step.
I'm just gonna say, can I have a rebuttal to this after?
No, because I don't. The only reason why I'm shutting this down, and because I know you, Simon, we'll have this conversation going on 2-3 hours, and
All right, cool. I'm
wanna
gonna stop. I'm just saying, like, I was just gonna make a very simple point, and it wasn't gonna be a 2-hour thing. It wasn't to be anything, but I'm just saying, it's just another perspective. I'm not doing that stargazing stuff. Like, I've seen Bolo. Like, I appreciate Bolo, and there's certain people that come on and they go into this stargazing stuff, but I'm not doing that. I was just saying, I'm looking at, look, if you can't respect the thought process of someone that is from another country, maybe that's a different thing. Do you get what I'm saying? But we are all the same people. I respect you, Bolo. Like, I ain't saying you're saying the wrong thing. I'm saying you're saying the right thing. You're saying the right thing. But I'm trying to portray to you what we see because I'm the representative from here. So that's all it is. And
well, what I say to you, Simon, on that, right? Thank you for that thought. What I would say to you is this, and that's the beauty in making things simple, that it's applicable to no matter where you are on the planet.
I think you're totally correct. Like, when you went
saying?
ABC 1, 2, 3, I get it.
But that's the point that I'm trying to make. When you try to make things complicated, that's when people start adding their own stuff to it. When you make it as simple as possible. Now, one thing that I've seen, I know how many people read instructions. I know a lot of the times, I'll throw myself on the sword. A lot of times I don't read the instructions until something goes wrong. Then I say, what the hell did I miss? You know what I'm saying? So in this giving the book, in this giving common sense, it's making it as simple as possible so that we can't jack it up. And how many platforms have you been on and people jack up simplicity?
Exactly.
That's the problem.
Exactly.
Right. And that's why I try to give it ABC.
And that's why I might interject and you might think that I'm coming at you. I'm not coming at you in any sort of
Simon, we're going around in circles. This is where I'm going to shut that down. We're going around in circles. I think Bolo said it as clear as day. He gives his perspective. He tries to break it down, make it real easy that anybody, no matter where they are in the world, can accept it, receive it, and keep it.
I hope so.
I also shutting it down because I want to respect Lashida for you, because what has she done? She has done what most women wouldn't even do, which is she spoke her piece in the chat. She was willing to come up on the panel. She was willing to speak her perspectives. Whether we agree or not, the fact of the matter is she was able to speak her perspectives. I was only shutting her down on 2 different areas because she doesn't really know my personal platform, meaning I only shut her down when you're talking about other content creators, and I don't want my platform to be the let's go after other content creators when it's not this platform. Now, if let's say these people she was naming was on this platform, then she got every right to say, well, this particular, you said this and this person said, and when I ain't got that, I can't just, I don't do that because I want her to recognize that if she ever comes back here again, she needs to know, okay, this is the topic, this is how he operates, and keep it moving.
Okay. Well, can I respond?
Look, Uncle, I got my beats.
Can I respond?
And like I said, I didn't want this to go on for 4-5 hours of everybody going back and forth. I'm sorry, Bo.
I gotta
Okay,
get
well,
out of
can
here.
I-
Uncle
can
Stu,
I
love you.
respond?
Simon, come to my channel, man. We'll chop it up as long as you want. Thank you, Uncle Stu, man.
You
I'll
so-
highlight you in the back end, brother.
All right.
Okay, well, the reason I'm bringing up now, I understand you're not wanting to hear about other content creators, but the reason I'm bringing it up, because if it's being mentioned, if it's being questioned why it is that Black women supposedly hate Black men, and I'm a Black woman, and I think that I can speak for Black women, and I'm going to assume, even though I came in here late. Yeah, I just caught this, in my recommends. Okay, I came in here late. I'm going to assume that you are talking about, even if you're not necessarily saying their names, I am going to assume that you are talking about certain female content creators, like those who are referred to as divestors, even if
Right there. And that's why no. This is what I am willing to do, so that way you have fairness, because I want you to have. Oh, thank you so much for your generous super chat, Linda. Y'all know I'm bad on names, for the $49.99 super chat. No, ma'am. This is what I'm willing to do. I would rather you listen to my monologue first. Send me a message. Say, I heard the monologue and I want to respond to your monologue.
Okay.
And I will be glad to then open it up again where you hear the monologue, as opposed to just assuming, hey, this is what he put in here. He's talking about other content creators. That's not what I'm referring to.
That's not all I was responding to. I was responding directly to what was being said, like it being responded, like with me bringing out that, with cosmetic surgery, if we're going to look at women wearing weaves, and we got to also look at, it's like I said, when I had posted something in the chat room in regards to that, it was played down. Well, other women, like I have shown in a video, how white women, even if you have the same group of white women making the same amount of, well, I mean, I see every time I'm responding, but I understand it's your show.
No, I don't, because I don't want you to feel disrespected. I really, 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 really don't. I don't. That's why I'm suggesting, and everybody's hearing me say this, I am suggesting the monologue, believe it or not, I think it's about an hour long. I'll cut it up so it can be easy to digest. Let me say it that way. But I would rather you listen to the monologue and then come back here and respond to my monologue. Don't add or subtract anything. And I'm only saying that because you're going down a rabbit hole that I never went down.
No, I'm also responding to those on your panel. But if I just may give closure, but I understand what you're saying. You want so that I know where you stand. I get what you're saying overall. So
And
I get
again,
the overall. I get what you're saying.
you need to understand where I stand, and you need to understand. And matter of fact, let me take. I'm using these words, but I don't want you to take it as a harshness, or as this hate thing. I want you to understand the monologue, but I need you to also catch Uncle Stu's vision. And I need you to catch where he's going in his platform. I need you to understand that I am speaking to a group of men and I'm speaking to a group of women that want to be married. They want to have relationships. Right. They need to be able to hear from someone who has been through, gone through, and can see his way through. Okay. You need to understand who I am, not who other content creators are. I have my own voice. I have
Okay,
my
well,
own.
I'm just speaking in general. I'm just speaking in general, not just to you, but to the listeners, to the Black men on the panel, to people in general. And speaking, being that I can better speak for Black women. Now, I don't speak for every Black woman, of course, but I think I could better speak for Black women. Okay, and what I'm saying, and I just,
but you're speaking to Black women. My panel is for the upliftment of Black men.
Okay, all right, okay. But I just want to leave and say this. Okay. I totally agree. What was the guy that was just speaking? I straight up, I think that he's very much on point. I know that a lot of people don't believe in the Bible, but I believe that he was, I can't remember the guy that had just was on the panel that was last speaking. I totally agree with what he was saying. What I believe, I just believe that, like we're talking about criticism can't take criticism. Black people, male and female, have been taking criticism for centuries now. We have been criticized on everything. This idea that we've been lifted up as kings and queens and all, that's bull. All that uplifting, the say loud Black and I'm proud, pro-Black, that was in response to us being demoted. Okay, that was in response to us being oppressed, demoted, put down. That was in response. The finger has been wagged at us from, like, when you listen to Chris Rock, Blacks versus Niggas, when you listen to, and what I feel, and this is what I feel, and I'm gonna leave, that there has been, and I have been in YouTube, I've been in social media since 2001. I used to be a caseworker going back to the 90s. I've been in YouTube, however, since 2008. And all that I have been hearing, like, is this finger wagging. People focusing on what it is they don't like. Instead of focusing on what you don't like, whether that's weave, why don't we try focusing on what we like, what we want to see? I think there's so much focusing on what it is that we claim we don't want to see, we don't want to hear. And instead of balancing out, like, okay, when Cynthia G was talking about, or another content creator talking about, I'm sorry, I'm just a direct person like that. That's all.
Yeah.
When people were talking about Black men not building communities, I showed examples.
I have to stop you.
Okay, I wish you could focus on what it is I'm really saying, but I understand.
I do understand, and that has nothing to do with my monologue. So what I need you to do is go back, get the monologue, and then email me. My email is in the chat, and then I can deal with it.
Well, like I said, the point, like I was saying, when people talk about Black men not building communities, I show examples of Israelites literally building communities.
So, you're doing exactly what is
okay.
You're trying to get the last word, and I'm sitting here trying to get to my wife.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you, sir, for inviting me up here. I hope that what I'm saying is
Chaotic Rain, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to shut it down, Chaotic. I have been up here for going on close to 4 hours, and I will be glad to reopen up this stream later on this week. So Chaotic Rain, I can't let you up because I am trying to shut this down. I want to say to everybody on these YouTube streets, I appreciate all of the conversation. Please leave me a comment, like, share the video. Been a whole lot said tonight. And I almost can guarantee you, ladies and gentlemen, there will probably end up being a part 2 to this conversation. So please leave me a comment, drop an email, let me know what you think. Let me know if you need further clarity on anything I said tonight. And let's get into it. Let's heal ourselves, let's heal our communities, and let's heal our future. I want to thank you for being with Uncle Stu, the old man on the block. Peace.